Hello, everybody, and welcome. Why am I blurred?
Say that you're saying, no, it's just Ecamm. It's not my brilliant camera. My camera didn't used to do this, so it must be Ecamm in your face. Your face.
Yeah, okay. I need to replace this. I need to fix this. Everything went wrong after we were in Israel, and the camera fell down after it was put in a strange place.
And you're like, no, it still works, and yet it never focuses correctly anymore.
Yeah.
That's kind of an issue.
Pretty sure it's just the lens. If I change the lens, it probably won't happen anymore.
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't seem like the lens. It seems like a problem with the autofocus.
Could be too.
Going in and out of focus. Seems like you got a problem. I told you, try taking off the autofocus and leaving it focused on one spot and see if that works.
Yeah. I don't like getting major equipment, new equipment. I have had this camera for a long time now, so that's that. Anyway, welcome everybody, and welcome everybody to AP Apostate Prophet live channel. Thanks for joining us on this great assembly. We have come together here today to talk about fantastic things such as death, fantastic things such as Islamists, fantastic things such as golden showers. First off, before we continue, I made a poll earlier today before we went live. It was indeed a very important poll. I started it. I wanted to conclude and announce the results of the poll once we go live. I see now over 700 people voted so far. The question was, what do you choose? And the choices were life, death, or the cow. And I see now that 46% said life, 2% said death, and 52% said the cow. So it is quite obvious what people prefer here. People choose the cow.
Yeah, but to be fair, that could be skewed because yesterday we did an entire live stream on a cow. So that could have shifted it, right? In other words, if you catch people a week from now and they forget about the cow, then they might vote differently.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty accurate. So today we want to react to and review a video that was posted by my dear friend Mohammed Hijab, who is a very good friend of mine in private. He loves me. He says very nice things to me. In public, he wants to fight me. In private, we're very nice to each other. Very lovely, very loving, indeed. So, David, are you aware of Mohammed Hijab's message to the Jews?
I'm not. I don't know what he said in it, apart from people were messaging me saying that he was talking about what the Quran says, of course, that the Jews should long for death or something like that. So I don't know how bad he made it in his video, but it is Hijab. So I'm guessing it's not great.
That's good. I'm pretty sure it will be great. So when we want to jump in here and have a look at that, Miss B said, "Take bets every live stream. How many minutes late?" If you did that, I should actually. I'm thinking I should get into the business of betting, collecting bets based on how far delayed we will be. Of course, I can't participate in it, but
it would be funny if we ran the betting site.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or we should just register our live streams on a major betting site where everyone can go on and bet based on how late we will be.
You said based.
Black Milky said, guess the tune. His name is Mohammed. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Answer, rock the Casbah. I don't even know how that goes.
His name is Mohammed. Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. That's how it would go.
Oh, I see. Logan said, rehabilitate Islam. Nope. Never. Put it down. Apu Pucker Alpuff Daddy says, no Democrat has any moral authority to condemn Israel on that errant drone strike. August 29th, 2021, 3 adults and 7 children were obliterated under orders from President Biden. Not one U.S. official fired. I would always generally disagree with making this about Democrats and Republicans or leftists and right wingers and all that.
He said Mike Winger.
But yeah, so this is again one of those situations where during the war between Israel and Hamas, a big mistake happened and a big tragedy happened of these 7 um, humanitarian rights workers, were killed in a terrible miscommunication and attack, where apparently the operators in charge were under the false assumption that these vehicles are being used by Hamas. And the Israeli army, the IDF, thoroughly investigated the case and admitted that the World Kitchen, what's it called again? WCK. They did nothing wrong. They did everything right on their part. They informed the Israeli army as expected, as they're supposed to do. Everything went well on their behalf, but there were internal communication failures in the IDF, which is why this strike was conducted. And the IDF took full responsibility, said it is awful, it is our fault, it should have never happened, and then took action against personnel involved necessarily. Um, and this is how you take responsibility and how you show accountability. This is how it's done, and it happens during war. And all kinds of sides make such mistakes during war, including friendly fire, civilian casualties, which is called collateral damage, and so on. However, when it's Israel, the world goes crazy.
Yeah.
When others do it, it's not that
Yeah,
common.
like what right when this came up, that reminded me, and I didn't remember what the situation was. I just remembered that the U.S. bombed the Chinese embassy somewhere by accident, and so I looked it up. Yeah, it was 1999. The U.S. bombed the Chinese embassy in Serbia, killing 3 Chinese state media journalists and outraging the Chinese public. According to the U.S. government, the intention had been to bomb the nearby Yugoslav Federal Directorate for Supply and Procurement. So anyway, their point was we were trying to bomb something else, and bad things happen. So what you can always say to everyone, hey, try to be more freaking careful. But you have to understand this does happen to everyone.
Yep.
And so I'm sure you saw it, but there are these things like people are freaking out because the IDF apparently uses AI to select targets. It's the AI's monitoring stuff and then figuring out targets and then bombing them, and it's saying, but it has a 10% error rate. So people are saying, hey, you're using a system that has a 10% error rate. And I'm like, that is messed up. You should use humans. And I was thinking, wait a minute. What if humans have a more than 10% error rate, right? Like, I don't even know. I don't know what the error rate for human beings is. So what you'd want is like some sort of AI system that is then like confirmed by a human committee. And so maybe that reduces the rate. But yeah, the main issue is this happens to everyone in a war, in bombings, and so on. You end up hitting some of the wrong targets. Everyone else eventually gets forgiven except the Jews. If Jews are involved, then it's deliberate. It was planned. It doesn't matter how much it makes them look bad and embarrasses them in the world community. They did it on purpose, and they're lying, and they shall never be forgiven. Isn't it like they the U.S. ship they bombed because they thought it was an Egyptian ship back in like 1973, and that still gets thrown in our faces every day. You see, they attacked the United States.
What about this?
They
What about
attacked
that?
them. They attacked the U.S.
What do you say about that?
I think Jake Shields just posted that like a day ago or something like that. Still bringing up the.
You know what he also posts? He started posting about blood libels because people brought up blood libel, and he was like, "Well, what is blood libel? I looked into blood libels, and it turns out Jews were accused in history of doing some things, and I'm wondering why they were accused. Looks like they were indeed doing bad things." And he brought up a something. Here it is. I'll just put it on the screen. He brings up history. The guy who can barely read something off his screen.
Where is it? I can't read this on your screen either. Oh, okay, there we go.
Tries to go into history and tries to tell us about what happened in history, and he goes into the blood libel of Trent, the Simon of Trent issue, where a 2-year-old boy disappeared and it took police days. And here's his misrepresentation. This is what he does. The 2-year-old boy disappeared, but it took the police days for the father to convince police to search the Jewish quarter. He was found brutally tortured to death with his blood drained in the basement of Jews. If you actually read the historical accounts, this is not what happened. What happened is that Jews themselves found the body next to their building, adjacent to their basement, and reported the body. So it was Jews themselves who actually said, "There is a body here. What is this? Somebody must have done something to this child." And they go to the authorities. Later, that is omitted when the authorities come, and it turns into a whole blood libel situation where everyone leaves out the fact that Jews themselves reported the issue. And instead, it turns into why was he found close to Jews? It must be because they murdered the child and used his blood for ritual purposes and so on. And then 15 men, indeed, that's correct. 15 men were convicted of being accomplices in the killing of this child and were burned at the stake. However, the convictions came after these people were brutally tortured, and under torture confessed to say, okay, yes, I am guilty, I am guilty, I am guilty. Okay. If you know something about torture, it is that in today's modern times, brutal torture and forced confessions are generally not to be taken seriously, because they usually don't reflect the truth, because people just say whatever to get out of the brutal torture that doesn't seem to end. That is what actually happened here. Jake
Now,
Shields completely leaves it out and acts like the Jews were accurately found guilty because they did indeed do such things.
now, you are correct. You could take any random person off the street and get him to confess to killing JFK if you
Yeah.
torture him. And the only way to stop the torture is for him to confess. So that's how it goes. They put them in some torture devices and they say, hey, you want to stop this? All you have to do is confess. And here's what you have to say. Yeah, and that's why you have to be careful about confession. And to be fair, this is even in my head when I see like the captured Hamas guys sitting in an office and explaining the things that they've done. It's always like there's some doubts in my head about what this particular guy did. I know what Hamas did. What this particular guy is confessing to, I don't know what this guy's just been through as far as the torturing. So it's always in my mind. Same thing with confessions in the U.S. If they keep a guy up for a day and a half and so on, and the only way he can stop the interrogation is to confess. And so anyway, and but by the way, what you're talking, that's a principle. It's even an issue in the U.S. where people aren't being tortured; they're just being interrogated hour after hour after hour after hour after hour and so on until they confess. People will confess to things just to stop the interrogation that doesn't stop, let alone torture.
Yeah, that is an issue. Plus, what's funny is there are lots of images, lots of videos now of Hamas terrorists. Yeah, well, let me remove this here. Of Hamas terrorists admitting that to have done terrible things like seeking out and shooting Israeli civilians, raping them, torturing them, and so on. And those people don't seem to have been brutally tortured. They just seem a little bit uncomfortable. But their testimonies or their admissions of guilt were immediately rejected. I'm sure by Jake Shields as well, because you can't trust it because they made those statements in Israeli captivity. However, he then goes to an event that happened many centuries ago where actual brutal public physical torture took place, inhuman torture took place, and confessions were then taken under brutal torture. And he presents that as proof that Jews engage in evil ritual practices. This is just the dishonesty and stupidity of these people. And by the way, Jews were not the only people who were subject to this kind of stuff. There are certain there are even some Christian groups that were subjected to treatments like that, and I talked about them before. And some conspiracy theorists actually have a problem with it. The Knights Templars, they were an actual legitimate crusading Christian organization that were doing their best to serve God and to fight for Christianity. However, they fell out of favor after a while, and under the French king were accused of worshipping a demon and sacrificing children and things like that. And then they were publicly brutally tortured, and under torture they were forced to confess that they did indeed worship some demon named Baphomet. That is where the whole Baphomet thing arises. So if you want to go into the history, things like these were not just done to Jews; they were also done to Christians by Christians, or to Christians by Christian authorities. So, if you are somebody who is a Christian and who wants to take accounts like these forced confessions by Jews seriously, maybe you should think about that twice, I would say. Anyway, here's a meme. I saw. Here's Candace, her job, and then why would the Jews do this? And did you ever see this? We were talking about Alex Jones the other day. There's this clip that I found genuinely kind of funny.
Only 6 seconds.
No, you.
So, you.
No, you.
You.
You. No, you.
You.
Both of you.
Keep doing it. You're doing it. You're doing it. You're doing it.
No, you.
So, you.
No, you.
You.
You. No, you.
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 Both of you. Keep doing it.
What is this?
They're acting like little children. It's so funny.
Wait! I was waiting for Alex Jones to go. I said you, dang it! What the hell's wrong with you? Huh? Huh? Are you a gay frog? Huh?
Anyway, all right. Are you ready to jump into this, David?
Yep.
Just some guy said, "Where does one take AP?" I'm banning just some guy now.
Wow.
I'm having ND wood. Why? See, Giant Disco Panda said, "What do you call a Saudi paratrooper? Carpet bomber?" No. Carla made a super chat. Thank you so much, Carla. Just some guy said, "Always equal insults." That's good. Abu Bakr said, excited for the eclipse. You're going to watch it? Thoughts? Yeah, I'm waiting for it just to see all the demonic rituals and all that, to see where I can participate. And there are some theories going around that the eclipse is being used for certain rituals and conspiracies and all that. And I'm just looking around and trying to find them. Yeah, I'm very excited. It's going to happen on Monday. Anyway, let's start the video. Why is this muted?
Because you see, Allah has spoken.
The reason spoken about Jewishness.
What is he doing? Jewishness. About Jewishness. If I talk like this, I can say anything to you morons and you will cheer.
You know what's funny? He's wearing a shirt that is supposed to be, I guess, for the football team of Palestine. You know what's funny about this fact? There was a Palestine football team under the British Mandate of Palestine, but it was a Jewish team. So the actual football team back then, belonging to Palestine, was the Jewish team. It was the team of Israel, of the land of Israel. That's what it was. But now it's this.
No, it's a pretty cool shirt. I like the ends of the sleeves there and stuff. I'm just wondering if they sell men's clothes where he got that.
Prefix said, "Apostate Prophet, when will you condemn Israel for kicking out 700,000 Palestinians for a war that other Arab countries started?" Why would I condemn them?
Yeah. For a war that other Arab countries started.
Which, of course, other Arab countries started it, because the ones who actually participated in it didn't have their own country, because they didn't want an own country. They were just pledging their loyalty to other Arab countries. Yeah. That's it. That's that. Plus, they were not all kicked out. Many of them, probably even most of them, actually fled.
Talking about Jewishness and Judaism enough. And the reason why is because we've been afraid to be called anti-Semitic. But today, after I drink this cup of water, everything's going to change. That's the reality of the situation.
You see, I've found that as long as I do any sort of antic, no matter how stupid or silly it is, you guys are thrilled by it, and I become your hero. See? See?
Oh, man.
Gosh, you guys are dumb.
Some guy
He's acting like he's speaking to children. I don't even get it.
Yeah, it seems like
Secret Service,
Sesame Street or something.
Yeah, yeah.
This is how we drink water.
yeah. Okay, now
Show us how to drink camel pee, Hijab.
what's a famous like a Norwegian name? Give me a name. Give me one. Lars. Yeah, there's been enough Larses I've had to deal with in my life. So Lars, we've got him now. He said he's going to be anti-Semitic. I don't know why he's got this kind of accent anyway, but I can't do the Norwegian accent. It's very difficult to do.
I must say, Mohammed Hijab, if you are considering going into comedy, stand-up comedy, please don't.
Yeah, come up with a good intro, man. This is the worst intro to a presentation about hating Jews that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, I'm a little. My grandmother was 100% Norwegian, so I'm at least a quarter Norwegian. He's on some thin ice right here.
Hey, what does Mohammed Hijab say when he goes to Finland?
What?
He says, "You finish, you finish, you finish." Anyway,
Hey, that should be a video. We need someone who can impersonate Mohammed Hijab, and he just walks down the street in Finland and he goes, "You're finished,
finish,
you're finished,
boy, you're
you're
finished."
finished." Yeah, to a little kid, "You're finished, boy." Yeah.
Anyway, anyway, let's
If
continue.
I tried to do it, it'd probably sound like a German.
I bet
Anyway.
you like that, wouldn't you, Hijab?
Islam deals with Judaism as a religion, and there's lots of ayat. And this is actually, I know this is going to go online. This is my message to the Jews. And you know we're coming for you, no, okay? I'm only kidding. No, on a serious level, because Judaism is seen as two things at once. It's seen as an ethnicity and it's seen as a religion. So I'm not talking about the ethnicity, although that has some bearing of what I'm about to say. One of the main things about Judaism as a religion is that they do believe that this group of people, this tribe of people, are the chosen people. They believe in that. And the Quran challenges.
As does the Quran, right?
There it comes. He will, I predicted, he will make it look like this is a totally Jewish idea, and he will make it also look like, he will also completely misrepresent what chosen people actually means within the context of Judaism.
Yeah,
I can see the
chosen.
future.
Yeah, chosen in the sense God chose you for His plan, and He says, if you're thinking that you're better than other people, I chose you because you're better than other people. You're not. If you do the same things they do, I will treat you the same way I treat you. I mean, I will treat you the same way I treat them.
Yep.
Well,
In fact,
what he said.
the Talmud, in fact, goes into lengthy bits of how being Jewish is actually a burden, and it's not something that is desirable. It is actually, why would you want to be Jewish? This is also a thing. Like if somebody wants to convert to Judaism, the rabbis in Orthodox Judaism are supposed to discourage that person and ask them several times if they are sure that they want to do it, and then put them through a bunch of tests to then say, okay, you know what, okay, you're ready, fine. If you so badly want to, yes, you can become a Jew. But because supposedly, from their perspective, Jews have over 600 commandments, whereas non-Jews who believe in God and who are just abiding by the laws of Noah just have a few commandments, and that's it. So being a Jew is is a burdensome thing. It is not a superior thing. That's not what it is. But I'm sure he will actually make it look like that. So let's see.
Hey, hang on. I
Yes.
did want to point out. Surah 2, verse 122. O children of Israel, remember my favor wherewith I favored you, and how I preferred you to all creatures. Surah 2, verse 47, same thing. O children of Israel, remember my favor wherewith I favored you, and how I preferred you to all creatures. No, that's not everything the Quran's going to say. The Quran's going to say they rebelled and so on, as does the Bible, right? So the Quran is actually giving a condensed version of things that Muhammad heard about the Bible. But it's saying what could you possibly criticize from the Bible as a Muslim and saying, oh, it says that God chose them and they rebel. Yeah, that's exactly what your Quran says. Oh my goodness, I don't know what to do.
So some people here pointed it out. 613 verses 7. So this is the traditional Jewish perspective that Jews have, according to the tradition, I think, put together by Maimonides, by Rambam, 613 commandments, whereas non-Jewish people, Noahides, would have 7 commandments. And then the idea is, why would you want to become a Jew and have to abide by 613 commandments when you can just stay and abide by 7 commandments? So that is the perspective. Does that sound like a sense of superiority? No.
And it's funny because you find it's not the entire reasoning, but it's part of the reasoning in Acts 15 when the issue gets brought up that some of the Christians were teaching others that you had to become Jews in order to accept Jesus as the Messiah, and this becomes a big dispute. Paul and Barnabas are on one side of it. They come to and they bring it before the apostles, and the apostles have to actually think through this because they didn't. Right? It's not something where Jesus gave a command. And so they have to actually, what do the Gentiles need to become Jews in order to accept Jesus? And they conclude, no. But part of the reasoning was, why would we want to saddle the Gentiles with a law that we've never been able to keep up with? We've never been able to keep up with. Why are we going to say they have to try and keep up with it when we never were able to keep up with it?
Anyway, let's go. Let's see. You're not letting the guy speak, man. Maybe he will say something important.
Use this all the time. فَتَمَنَّوُا الْمَوْتِ. If you truly believe that you are the chosen people, and it's mentioned twice, by the way, one in Surah Al-Baqarah and the other one is in Surah Al-Jumu'ah, chapter 62 of the Quran. If you really believe you're the favored people that Allah has chosen, فَتَمَنَّوُا الْمَوْتِ, then go ahead and ask for death. Now you might think, why is Allah saying this? Because if you're the favored person and there is some level of afterlife, which they believe, although they don't spell it out. By the way, Jewish people don't have heaven and hell. This might be very surprising to you. Like, they might have some level of conception of an afterlife, but they don't have, Judaism doesn't have, like in Christianity and Islam, heaven and hell. It doesn't have this. SubhanAllah.
What he is actually meaning to say, I hope, is that Judaism doesn't have the same strict distinction between heaven and hell, where good goes to heaven and bad goes to hell. That there is an afterlife, and then there are certain disagreements, or it is rather vague what the afterlife, how the afterlife will actually go, and the idea, by the way, is for both for Jews and non-Jews, God has a plan in the world to come. So that is the Jewish idea. I'm not sure why he can't.
Well, I can't even believe when they bring this up, because there are lots of stupid things in the Quran. I mean, really, really stupid. Oh, Jews believe that Ezra is the son of God. And no, they don't. No, the Trinity is made up of God, Jesus, and Mary. No, it isn't. The Quran says lots of stupid things, but this is up there on the level of stupidity. Because he pointed out, you find this in Surah 2 and you find this in Surah 62, where, and in both cases, it's, hey, if you believe heaven is just for you, then long for death. If you believe it's just for you and not for other people, then long for death. And you sit back and think, what's the actual reasoning there, right? What's it like? It doesn't make sense. If it's only for you, then you should long for death. Why? What if I believe that everyone is going to heaven? Why would that make me want to die? Like what? Why? In other words, if I believe that everyone's going to heaven, would I want to die? Would I want to end this life? Or if I believe that half of people are going to heaven, should I want to die? What if I believe I'm the only group that's going to heaven? Should I then want to die? It's like, I don't know. It's pretty stupid.
So this is what he's bringing up here. I don't know what's happening to this tab. This is what he's bringing up in the Quran in chapter 62, verse 6. It says, "Say, oh, you who are Jews, if you claim that you are allies of Allah, excluding the other people, then wish for death if you should be truthful. But they will not wish for it ever because of what their hands have put forth, and Allah is knowing of the wrongdoers." What it's implying is that the Jews know that they are wrong, and that they will be, I guess, punished. "Indeed, the death from which you flee, indeed it will meet you. Then you will be returned to the knower of the unseen and the witnessed, and he will inform you about what you used to do." This is, it's fine that Mohammed Hijab, with his pomposity, is bringing this up as an example for what he wants to tell Jews. In my opinion, when you look at this, this is just, this is kind of a demonstration that the author of the Quran doesn't understand Jews and doesn't understand Judaism at all.
And it just seems really stupid to me, right? It's up there with it's no longer in the Quran. It was eaten by a sheep. But hey, if a man and woman have to work around each other, and you don't want them, and the woman's married, and you don't want them to commit adultery, just have her breastfeed him 10 times, and then they won't be attracted to each other. It's like that. It's like that level of stupid. Like, what are you, an idiot? Oh, you think you're going to heaven? So long for death. Long for death. Stupid.
Yeah. So the idea is, the Quran says, "Hey Jews, so if you think that you are friends of Allah, then why don't you wish for death? How about that? Why don't you wish for death? You see, you are scared of death. Just the fact that you don't wish for death shows that you are scared of death because of what will happen to you."
Maybe because you believe this life is a gift as well, and you don't throw away something you've been given by the Almighty. Huh?
Primarily, yes, Jews have believed, and to this day, today still believe, that life is an incredibly valuable thing, and that this is a gift given by God for a purpose that a Jew needs to live out to the fullest while following the laws given by God. That's it. Why in the world would you say to them, "Oh, hey, Jews, why don't you wish to die?" That doesn't make any sense. From a Jewish perspective, that does not make any sense. It would go against the fundamentals of what they believe about life. And this is also the idea. This Jewish idea is also the idea behind today Jews appreciating life so much and valuing life so much and having a very, 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 very good place for just for everything that has to do with life, for the word "Chai," for life, and so on. This is what Judaism is. The Quran's author simply doesn't understand it, and Mohammed Hijab is coming here and bringing this up as if it was a good point. It's just stupid.
It's very stupid. And I have to say, it's a bit hypocritical, because you do have points where the Quran says that, the Jews and the Christians and the Sabians, as long as they worship God, there's no problem for them. But then you also have eventually you have the claim that Allah won't accept any religion other than Islam. And so the reconciliation would be Jews and Christians who actually qualify as Muslims, so they would submit to God. But if you look, it's okay, if you're a Christian and you believe that Jesus is the Son of God, which is every Christian, then you don't qualify. And so who's this even talking about? Some mysterious Christian group that doesn't believe that Jesus died on the cross and doesn't believe he's the son of God. Like, what are you talking about? Who are these Christians who would qualify as Muslims? And then in addition to that, you have the Quran saying that if you don't believe in Muhammad, then Allah doesn't love you. Allah ceases to have any concern. There comes a point when Muhammad is introduced to you. This is Surah 3:31-32. That Muhammad is introduced to you, and if you do not believe in him, then Allah is never going to love you until you do. And so Jews who love Muhammad and believe that he's a prophet, or Christians who love Muhammad and believe that he's a prophet, I don't know people that are, put it this way, you're a pretty clueless Jew or Christian if you believe that Muhammad is a prophet, since he condemns what you believe. So it's like, what is the Quran saying at the end of the day? It's saying that Muslims are the only people going to heaven, and it's blasting Jews for saying that, right? It's blasting Jews for saying, oh, you're saying we're the only ones who go to heaven.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Islam teaches.
Yes. And here is the verse which the idea which the Quran took from the Jews, because the Quran's author didn't really understand it at first. It says, "O children of Israel, remember my favor which I have bestowed upon you, and that I preferred you over the worlds." Over the worlds. Yes, that's what the Quran says. Anyway, let's see.
By the way, interesting. Which is why the Quran, it actually criticizes this. وَلَتَجِدَنَّهُمْ أَحْرَصَ النَّاسِ عَلَى حَيَاةٍ وَمِنَ الَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا. And this is Allah saying this about Jews and polytheists. You'll find them the most cautious about preserving their life. Allah saying this, Quran. وَمِنَ الَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا يَوَدُّ أَحَدُهُمْ لَوْ يُعَمَّرُ أَلْفَ سَنَةٍ وَمَا هُوَ بِمُزَحْزِحِهِ مِنَ الْعَذَابِ أَن يُعَمَّرُ. It's saying that they wish to live 1,000 years. And he cannot live 1,000 years. And he's not going to be able to.
Wait, you can't?
Yeah. You see this, by the way? So Hijab saying this from the safety of Norway. He doesn't go to fight. They've got what do they got? Boko Haram and Al Shabaab and multiple ISIS groups and Al Qaeda and Hamas and the Taliban. All these groups out there fighting the kuffar, and he stays in UK, Norway, places like that, and he's making fun of the Jews because they preserve their life. What does Hamas do? They run and kill a bunch of people. Then they do what? They run and hide in tunnels. They run and hide in tunnels, and long for the day when Israel backs down because of screaming college students. So they run and hide, and then they pray, "Oh Allah, please make those college students very persuasive as they scream. Make those protests very persuasive so that Israel doesn't come get us." Why? Because you don't want them to keep going and kill you. But and by the way, I still to this day, I don't get these guys. What about all the Palestinians being killed? I thought you guys love death and were obsessed with death, and you're not scared of death. And what about all the Palestinian children? Wait, I thought you guys loved death. I thought you wanted death. Death is the great thing. You have nothing to fear for death. It's the greatest thing in the world. No, what about them killing? My goodness. I mean, put it this way: aren't all those people who die martyrs according to you? Here's what I'm saying. Guys, I agree with you that you shouldn't want these people dying. But I'm pointing out, you guys are saying to Jews, well, if you really believe that you're the ones, then you should long for death. You should want to it. You should be great. You should celebrate it. You should be ready to die. You should be running out when you see a missile drop and saying, please hit me right in my face. That's what you should be like if you believe this stuff. And then you see what they do, and please save us. UN, come save us from death. Save us from death. We don't want to die.
Yeah, so this is what Muhammad Hijab is referring to, where he says that this is a criticism of the Jews and polytheists. It says, say, if the home of the hereafter with Allah is for you alone and not the other people, then wish for death if you should be truthful. Funnily enough, this is not a Jewish belief.
Yeah.
It's the home of the hereafter with Allah is for them alone is not a Jewish belief.
And I was pointing out, even if that were the position, the reasoning here makes no sense. It makes no sense. If you believe you're the only ones who go to paradise, then you should long for death. Why should that make me long for death any more than if everyone goes to paradise, or if some people go to paradise? Why? Why would that make me, if I still view this life as a gift from God, why do I want to throw it in the garbage? Even if I believe I'm the only, that's what I mean. It's like, The author of the Quran seems really, really stupid in his reasoning. It sounds like, let me put it this way. It sounds like the reasoning of a barely literate 7th century Arabian caravan robber.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds. It sounds like some dope is coming up with this stuff, not the creator of the universe.
Let me repeat this. This is the claim here put forth by Mohammed Hijab, or this is what he is implying, and what some people are also thinking, and what Muslims think because the Quran says it. Jews do not believe. Jews do not believe. Only we will go to heaven, and we will have a place in the hereafter with Allah, and everyone else will not. That's not what Jews believe. This is not a mainstream Jewish belief. So this is just ignorance on the Quran's part.
Swerve the punishment if you live 1,000 years. That's what Allah says in the Quran. So I find this very interesting because I've been attacked on this basis. I had this debate with this guy called Unholy Shmoli. And he was saying, like, you guys want to die, you want to die. I don't see why this is a criticism. We believe in an afterlife. Yes, we believe in Jannah. In fact, you should want to die.
Calm down. Calm down. Calm down.
What is that? Is that an ad right in the middle of his thing?
He actually put a charity ad into the middle of his stream.
Calm down. Calm down. If you give to...
What is this? What is this, man?
In fact, you should want to die.
Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. It's just a break. I'm reminding you that when you are finished watching the video, that you
Finish.
below and donate now.
This is the hero, man. This is the champ. You guys, if you're from another planet, if you just arrived here from Mars and you want to understand what various religions do and their contribution to the world, look at this guy. Look at how he acts. Look at how he has become the hero of the Ummah. And that will tell you pretty much everything you need to know about Islam. There's more to learn. There's the stuff you need to know you can learn just from watching this. Now, there's all sorts of other things about, child brides and everything else, killing apostates. But just watch this guy. It'll give you a good idea of to what Islam has produced.
Please don't. If advanced extraterrestrials came and the first thing they saw was Mohammed Hijab's videos here, especially with this ad break, they would probably say, screw this, destroy this planet. Destroy this planet, kill them all. Let's colonize it.
And he was saying, like, you guys want to die, you want to die. I don't see why this is a criticism. We believe in an afterlife. Yes, we believe in Jannah. In fact, you should want to die.
Calm down.
None of this makes any sense. Okay, let's see what he says after calm down.
We should be clipping this and putting this up. Say, hey, what?
Allah,
He's telling these young people, you should want to die. I mean, gosh, this guy might as well just be like recruiting terrorists, future terrorists. You should want to die. You should want to die. You should want to die. All these jihadis who go out. I'm not even talking about Hamas. I'm talking about the ones who go out and attack people at a concert and so on. This is exactly their thinking. I want to die. I want to die. And I believe that the only way I'm guaranteed paradise is if I die while waging jihad. And so I'm going to go attack a bunch of people at a concert. And then I'm going to get my virgins that I get to deflower for eternity.
Which is the most beautiful thing about Islam, to be honest. Yeah.
Yep. Sexy.
Yeah. This is, by the way, what this all of this reminds me of. Here's Mohammed Hijab in his interactions with me, where he said to me, if I were an anxiety-ridden, hate-filled nihilist atheist like a puss, I would consider suicide as a serious option. That is because the world offers such humans more pain than pleasure. The pain of being a coward, the pain of having no purpose. Just find a tall building and...
By the way,
give you sincere advice.
Look at what he. Hang on. Look at what he just said. Look at what he just said. This world offers such humans, quotation marks, you're not really human, more pain than pleasure. Notice the view. The world is more painful than pleasure. Therefore, you should prefer death. But keep in mind, for anyone, if you're just talking about things that happen to you in life, that would be more pain than pleasure. And so from a Muslim perspective, you should want to die because then you just get the pleasure. And he's even saying for you that it's so much more pain than pleasure, then you should want to die just so this because it's even and it's all wiped out.
Yeah, yeah.
What a
Yeah.
sick dude. But that's the thing.
I want to give you sincere advice. I think you should commit suicide. Not because you are a talentless coward or because you are a waste of space. I think the world is offering you more pain than pleasure. It is not morally objectionable for you, so why not? This is logic. This is logic 101. Of course, makes complete sense. It's not morally objectionable to you, so just go kill yourself. What's the problem?
Isn't the reasoning amazing though? Jews should want to die. Atheists should want to die. Everyone should want to die. But we're the only ones who want to die because our religion has programmed us to want to die. And so
We also want to die. Everybody wants to die.
Yeah, we want to die. So I'm going to go speak in Norway where I definitely will not die. And I'm going to be defending Hamas to keep Hamas from dying because I don't want them killed by Israel. So I'm going to go rally against the Jews so that Muslims don't die because we don't want Muslims to die. And I'm going to simultaneously complain that Muslims are dying while saying that we should all want to die. What an idiot. Like, gosh, I mean, he sounds like the same. I mean, think about this. This seems idiotic to us. This is exactly what you find in the Quran. So as stupid and idiotic as we find Mohammed Hijab's words right here, it's exactly what you find in the Quran. He has the exact same mentality as the creator of the universe. Are you kidding me?
Yes. Of course he does. Of course he does. What's there to doubt? Of course he does. This is some very solid advice. Mohammed Hijab, I would just say, why don't you just take your own advice? Why don't you take your own advice? And we know you want to die. You long for death because you think that you will then go and deflower virgins and all that. If you can't do it to yourself, which is understandable, which I would never encourage, then why don't you, seek out a way and participate in activities that will bring you closer to that instead of spending your time there in your comfortable place in England and traveling around Norway.
Yeah, with your secret second, third, fourth wives, probably child brides from your Dawa buddies because you're all passing your daughters around.
Yeah. Go and get your virgins, Mohammed Hijab. Don't wait. Go get your virgins. Get your virgins with transparent skin.
Yeah.
And all that.
In other words, let me go ahead and say it. We say we want to live and don't want to die because, well, I can't say what AP believes, but I believe life is a gift. And so I don't want to die. But notice, we're honest about the fact that we don't want to die, right? You could say, hey, I believe I've just got stuff to do in the world. I can improve this world with my life. Why would I want to die? You guys are saying we should want to die. We should all want to die. And you obviously don't. So who's the liars here? We're honest about life, man. Yeah, we're honest about what we want. And you guys run around saying that you prefer death when Hijab, there are plenty of terrorist battles going on right now. There's any number of terrorist organizations you could join. And on a battlefield, you'd be a pretty freaking easy target. Because you're like a foot taller than everyone else on the battlefield. So you'd be an easy target. You don't want to die. Isn't this amazing? I mean, he's appealing to a passage of the Quran where he's saying, you see, this is saying that the Jews are lying about what they believe. Deep down, they know it's not true. And this guy runs all over the planet. We want death. We love death. We love death. We love death. We love death. Hey, Mohammed Hijab, it's very easy for you to die if you love death. No, I don't want to do that. I'm going to go to Norway.
Yeah.
Little muta up there.
Muta.
Get my muta on.
I value life. I don't. I think as long as I have it, I would like to continue and would like to live it out to the fullest, and do the best of it, and try to do whatever I think is good in the world. I personally don't have that perspective, dear Mohammed Hijab. The problem is, yes, Jews love life. Yes, I love life. Many others love life. You, Islamists, you don't love life. You love death, and you don't just want it for yourselves, you also want it for everybody else. And that is the problem. if you could just leave your desires to yourselves, or keep your desires to yourselves, it would be okay. Keep your beliefs, keep your ideas, keep the things that you desire so much to yourselves. That will be okay. Just go and do the thing that you love so much. Just don't bother others. That's the problem, Mohammed Hijab. That is the problem. That's why nobody likes you. By the way, he would also be an easy target, because on the battlefield he would be like, "I'm strong. I'm a hero. I am not going to hide in this trench. I will be run out there with my chest, and then he will get shot."
I don't believe it. I think he's a coward. At the end of the day, I think the man's a coward. Keep in mind, seriously. I mean, we've talked about this before, but every encounter anyone has with him has there been any encounter with him where he did not employ some sort of deception involved? No, I've never heard of an encounter with him where he wasn't. People didn't walk away going, "Oh, this guy's a compulsive liar. Look what he did."
Yes. Indeed.
And that's just not a sign of a man who's strong and confident, right? That's a sign of a man who is a coward at heart, and so he believes that he has to get by deception.
Yeah. The Uralic tribe said, "AP, did you ever hear about the movie documentary from Turkey called Dying for Divorce, about women being abused in Islam? It's really messed up." I haven't heard of it, haven't seen it, but from Turkey, so being Turkish alone is already abuse. So I understand that. But yeah, I would need to look into that and see. Interesting. Pat's leather strap says, "Did you see Saudi Arabia's new Mohammed robot assaulted a female journalist? Wasn't it groping?
Yeah, like it went to grab her butt. They had look at our new robot, and she's reporting on it. The thing reaches out and grabs her butt or something like that. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's what happens. It's trained to do that if you don't have a burqa on.
Yeah, cover yourself up. You whore, you're asking for it.
You know what's crazy? Like some of these guys, like what they want in life and how they believe that women who do not veil themselves should be treated. It would be like their dream to invent a robot that goes around molesting and groping and beating any woman that isn't dressed like an Arabian ninja or something.
Yes. John of all trades said, "I picked the cow because I'm a butcher. Mohammed Hijab sounds like a fake generic Muslim name. Call me David Magan. David Magan. How do you say that?"
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Sanke said, "Is AP still depressed? Erdogan's party lost the election." Yeah, I have been. I very much gave up on life after the Erdogan's party did very bad in the election.
I have some advice for you, AP, what you should do, since this world is giving you nothing but pain.
Mary Max said, "Shout out to Chase Hughes. Please pray for him and fam." I don't know who that is.
Then I'll look it up while you go through super chat.
Gwyneth Isaac said, "Aid workers in conflict zones know the risks. Rest in peace." Indeed. It's tragedy.
That one says Coleman Hughes.
Debo Drew said, "AP, did you see Coleman Hughes' interview?" I haven't seen it at all. No.
Wait, is it Coleman Hughes or Chase Hughes? That's two different Hugheses.
It's, I don't know, some Hugh. Who is it? Hugh is it? Okay, look it up, see what it says. What does it say? What is it about? I don't know. I don't care.
Effectively, right, if you believe you're the chosen one, you don't really need to do much. You're a chosen one by accident of birth. You
absolute idiot.
Look, what a freaking dope. So he's saying, God, think about what he's saying. He's saying that Jews believe that they can do whatever they want because they're chosen. My goodness, the entire book of Jeremiah is about this. The entire giant book. As far as number of chapters, Psalms is the longest. I think Jeremiah by word count is the longest book in the Bible. The entire book is about Jeremiah confronting false prophets who were saying, since we're chosen, we're not going to be conquered by the Babylonians. And Jeremiah saying, no, you've rebelled and you are going to be conquered by the Babylonians because you rebelled against the Almighty. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you can trace your lineage back to. You're going to face judgment right now. The entire book, and even when you look at the passages in the Torah that are about the Jews being chosen for what God is going to do, there are all these warnings. If you rebel, I'm going to treat you just like those other nations that I drove out. It's going to happen to
Yes.
you too. What's Hijab saying? The Jews believe that just because they're chosen, they can do whatever they want. What a, my goodness. This guy calls himself like a scholar of religions and so on.
Mohammed Hijab, did you actually read the Bible? You're supposed to be knowledgeable in these things. You're supposed to have studied this. You're supposed to be an expert in this, according to yourself. So, did you actually read it? For some reason, I can't pull up the Bible gateway. Bible gateway doesn't work. Okay,
Hey.
now it worked. I was gonna go for a specific passage here.
I've got a passage just because someone put it in the super chat. They put
What?
they put Deuteronomy 30. They put Deuteronomy 30. They put Deuteronomy 30:19 in here. I'll read the entire passage. All right. So
Okay.
this is Deuteronomy. This is Deuteronomy. This is the Torah here. This is the Torah. God says to the children of Israel, see, I have set before you today life and good, death and evil. If you obey the commandments of the Lord your God that I command you today by loving, so this is Moses before the children of Israel going to enter the land. If you obey the commandments of the Lord your God that I command you today by loving the Lord your God, by walking in his ways, and by keeping his commandments and his statutes and his rules, then you shall live and multiply, and the Lord your God will bless you in the land that you are entering to take possession of it. But if your hearts turn away and you will not hear, but are drawn away to worship other gods and serve them, I declare to you today that you shall surely perish. You shall not live long in the land that you are going over the Jordan to enter and possess. I call heaven and earth to witness against you today that I have set before you life and death, blessing and curse. Therefore choose life. Choose life. It's an order. It's a command. Choose life that you and your offspring may live, loving the Lord your God, obeying his voice and holding fast to him. For he is your life and length of days, that you may dwell in the land that the Lord swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give them. So two major refutations of what Hijab has been saying. So you've got that they are commanded to love life and to choose life and not to choose death. And he's saying, well, if you really believe, then you should choose death. Really, you should disobey God if you really love God. That's what you're saying, Hijab. And the other thing is Hijab saying that Jews believe that since they're chosen, they can do whatever they want, when they're repeatedly warned right here in this passage, if you don't obey, then guess what? You're not going to last long. You're just not going to last long. You're going to die.
So let's look at this section once again. This is just such a, I can't believe I'm hearing this from Mohammed Hijab. If this was just some regular guy on social media bringing this up, I would say, okay, yeah, you clearly don't understand what this is all about. But it is this guy who claims to be an expert now on religions, on comparative religion and all that. So let's see what he's saying.
Chosen one. That's to do. I'm not saying effectively. If you believe you're the chosen one, you don't really need to do much. You're a chosen one by accident of birth. You're the chosen guy. You're the one. Allah, you're so special. Allah chose you. So you really believe this? And why are you here in this dunya?
This is a very Islamic understanding of what chosen people would be. So what he is, because he is misunderstanding it, misrepresenting it primarily, I would say, because he is interpreting the whole chosen people aspect from a Muslim perspective, where he thinks, oh, in Islam, we as Muslims, if we are good Muslims, if we are perfect, then we go to heaven, and if we are not good enough, then we go to hell, and if we're not Muslims, then we will go to hell. And so he looks at Judaism from that perspective, from that lens, and thinks, okay, in Judaism, you are already chosen. That means you don't have to do anything. You will go to heaven anyway, because that's all this is about. To him, religion is all just about that. Going to heaven or going to hell. That's it. It's as simple as that. Mohammed Hijab, you are an absolute imbecile. You are a complete ignoramus. You are a complete idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. You seriously do not know what you're talking about. A regular person who is educated in Judaism, who is educated in the field of comparative religion, in these fields, if they listen to you and hear you say these things, they will think you don't know what you are talking about. David just summarized it. in Judaism, the idea, not even in the Bible specifically, you don't even have to you don't have to understand Judaism. You can just read the Bible, right? You can read the Bible and you can see in there what exactly it means to be the chosen people. It doesn't mean, oh, you're special, you will be treated like a king and you will go to the good place no matter what you do. No, that's not what it is. That's not the idea. The idea in Jewish thinking and in the Bible is that you have a special covenant with God, that God chose you not to be kings, but chose you to follow certain laws very closely and very strictly in order to be a light to others and in order to keep a covenant, a close relationship with God. The Jewish idea is that if you do not properly observe the covenant, the commandments that God gave you, then you will lose God's favor and you will fall from grace and be punished and be severed again and be all over the place again. And you have to be as good as possible. This is why, for example, if you go to Israel, it's a very interesting thing to observe. Especially ultra-Orthodox Jews will go around preaching to other Jews in the streets. Their idea is they want to preach to other Jews in order to encourage them to observe more of the commandments of the mitzvah, the commandments, in order to collectively, as Jewish people, follow God's covenant, follow God's laws. That's what Judaism is. It's not like, oh, we are chosen people, we are special, we will be treated like kings because we were born as Jews. We don't have to do nothing at all. That's not what it is, Mohammed Hijab. Are you dumb?
Hey, think about how he could defend himself here. All right. So the issue we would want to bring up after pointing this out is, okay, hijab, there's two possibilities. Either you're completely ignorant of what Judaism teaches and what Jews believe, and here you are on stage educating other complete morons who don't know anything about it, and they're just believing you. And so you are actively misleading people with your ignorance. So either you're ignorant, you don't know any better, you just don't know what you're talking about, and yet you're talking anyway and misleading other people, or you do know what Judaism teaches and what Jews believe and so on, and you're just lying about it. You're just lying about it. So you're lying to these people. So you're either ignorant or deceptive. It has to be one or the other. Now, how could he defend himself here? Well, that's exactly what Allah does in the Quran. So Allah in the Quran, he says the same things about Jews. So he's either ignorant or deceptive. So I'm just imitating Allah. And Allah says things like, Jews call Ezra the son of Allah. We can't find any record of any Jew in history. The Quran attributes this to Jews in general. It's a generalized statement. Jews believe this. According to Muhammad in the Hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari, the main accusation, the main charge against Jews in general on the day of judgment is not going to be you attack the Palestinians. It's not going to be there. It's not going to be there. That is not the charge against them. The charge against them is that they worship Ezra. That's the charge, that it will be brought against them. So what Mohammed Hijab can say here is, wait a minute, if Allah can lie about Jews, if Muhammad can lie about Jews, then why can't I?
This is, by the way, seriously what Islam teaches. For those who are unaware, especially for Jews, if a Jew hears this, they probably think, "Wait, what are you talking about?" But seriously, what Islam actually teaches, according to the Quran and the Hadiths, is that Jews are condemned because they believe that Ezra is the son of God, and that Ezra is also God, and that they worship Ezra. Something happened in Muhammad's time, and somebody misunderstood something. Maybe they were pranking him. I don't know. Maybe they were trolling Muhammad, and Muhammad took it seriously. But the idea is actually that Jews worship Ezra, which is why they will go to hell. And when you ask Jews, no Jew knows what in the world this is about, because there is no such Jew in history. Never happened.
In fact, when I
This
was
is
at
how
a table,
ignorant Islam is.
yeah, I was at a table. You were there, so you're an atheist. I was there. I'm
Yeah.
a Christian, and then I think Stefan from Visegrad was there. He's a Christian. Everyone else at the table were Jews, and I was sitting here talking to some Jews at the end of the table, and I started telling them about Ezra. They're like, what? And I was like, so what if I went around asking Jews why they worship Ezra as the son of God? What are they going to say? And he goes, you might want to start off with an easier question. Start off by asking, can you tell me one thing at all about Ezra? And he said, the only thing you're going to get, at most you'll get, well, I have a cousin named Ezra. Like, that's it. That's the only thing they would know.
Yeah. The proof for that, by the way, is so one is in Quran chapter 9 verse 30, but the other, this is an authentic hadith, an authentic report attributed to Muhammad, Sahih Bukhari 7439. It mentions here Ezra directly, and it says, Muhammad says, it will be said to the Jews, what did you used to worship? They will reply, we used to worship Ezra, the son of Allah. It will be said to them, you are liars, for Allah has neither a wife nor a son. What do you want now? They will reply, we want you to provide us with water. Then it will be said to them, drink, and they will fall down in hell instead.
Yeah,
And then
keep
Christians are
reading.
asked,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
said, then it will be said to the Christians, what did you used to worship? They will reply, we used to worship Messiah, the son of Allah. Look here, when it comes, and this is the indication that this actually means what it clearly means when you read it on the surface. When it comes to Christians, it does say, so Christians will say, we used to worship the Messiah, the son of God, right?
Mhm.
But apparently Jews here, when they are asked, will also say, oh, we used to worship Ezra, the son of God. Excuse me, which Jew ever said that? And this is talking about Jews collectively.
Yeah, so it's both Muhammad and the Quran. It's both Muhammad and the Quran. And in both places, so this Surah 9, verse 30, and it's here in the Hadith and in other Hadiths, where there's a parallel between what Christians do and what Jews do. The Jews are taking Jesus as the Son of God, and the Jews are taking Ezra as the Son of God. And this is why we have to be subjugated. And this is going to be the main accusation against us on the judgment day. But you're sitting here looking, going, okay, I understand what it's saying about Christians, but what are you talking about with Jews? And it's just, guys, like, how wrong do Allah and Muhammad have to be to the point where you can check with every Jew in history and find out that you're completely wrong, and Muslims will still believe it.
Alhamdulillah. This is it. This is the ignorance of Islam.
Outside in the minus 20 degrees and this one and that one. And why are you living this life? There must be something better waiting for you. If I truly believe this, every day I say, let me die, let me die, let me die. I'd even be going around the highways like this.
Wait, what he's saying? He's saying, if he,
Why am I?
do you hear what he just said? If I really believe this, if I really believe I'm going to heaven, so I would say, let me die, let me die, let me die. That's what he should be doing all day long, according to him. He believes that he's going and getting his virgins in paradise, right?
This is so incredibly stupid. Mohammed Hijab believes that so he would rather die, right? He wishes for death. He longs for death, and he would like to die and go to the afterlife. However, he also believes that he's not allowed to kill himself, so he can't do that. He's not allowed to bring about his own death and basically just induce suicide, so he can't do that. He has to follow rules within Islam in order to be rewarded instead of being punished. What he doesn't seem to understand is in Judaism, Jews also don't believe that you can just kill yourself and go to God. Jews also believe that you are in this life that God gave you in order to follow God's commandments properly. And of course, it's not as simple as it is in Islam, where you're like, oh, do this much good and you will get this many treats in heaven, and do this much and you will get this many no bad dogs. So it's more complex than that. But yeah, Jews also believe that they have to live, continue, and follow commandments. How in the world are you not getting this? Wow, man, this guy has no brain.
The dunya is ikhtibar, is test, is pain, is things. Allah is saying, if you really believe this about yourself, and you really believed in some level of an afterlife, then you should want death. But then Allah says something else. وَلَا يَتَمَنَّوْنَهُ أَبَدًا وَلَا يَتَمَنَّوْنَهُ. It's two verses. They don't and they won't ever ask for that. بِمَا قَدَّمَتْ أَيْدِيهِمْ. Because of what their hands have put forward. That's what Allah says. They know and they're going to ask for that. So yes, the Quran does speak to the Jews directly.
And what that means, what the Quran basically is saying here, is that Jews know that they are wrong. Jews know that they are engaging in evil, which is why they will not ask for death, because Jews know that Allah will punish them, that there will be a reckoning for them.
Dude, think about this. Think about this. Because, like, even someone with a donkey brain like Mohammed Hijab, like, how does he not spot how this flips on him? What's he saying? He's saying, if you believe this, then this is what you will do. But you're not doing this, therefore you will not believe it. Therefore, you don't really believe it. So if you believe this, then you would do this. But you're not doing this, therefore you don't actually believe it, right? So that's the argument. So as far the logic is sound, so the question is whether the premise is true, that if they believe that, this is what they would do, right? No, because what they believe is that life is awesome and you're supposed to love life and you're supposed to choose life. It's a command to choose life. That's what they believe. So you can't say, oh, I really, really want death. You'd be disobeying what you believe. So the premise is false. The premise is false, right? The first premise of the argument is false. Therefore, it doesn't apply to Jews. Does the argument apply exactly to Mohammed Hijab? If you believe this and you believe you're getting your virgins in paradise and all this stuff you believe, then you should do what? Then you should long for death and you should go out and join some group that's fighting the kuffar and die in the process. If you believe this, then you would do this. Premise 2, you're not doing this. Conclusion, therefore, you don't actually believe. In other words, it's Mohammed Hijab who's been exposed as a liar right here. Not the Jews. It's Muslims. It's Hamas. It's them that have been exposed. It's every Muslim who isn't longing for death, and every Muslim who's hiding, and every Muslim who's screaming, no, stop the killing, stop the IDF, ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire. You've all been exposed as not really believing what you say you believe.
This is it. See, Muslims are not longing for death because they know what their hand has put forth. So you see, this is it. Mohammed Hijab exposes Muslims. So all right, let's see what this is. People kept talking, but
yeah, I looked up. So it's interesting that in a space of like 3 super chats, you got Coleman Hughes mentioned and Chase Hughes. Chase Hughes is a different guy. I looked him up, and he was someone who I can't watch the video. He posted a video, so I'd have to watch that afterwards. But he posted a video about just looking at the comments, some sort of brain disease or something like that. He's got some, something. So anyway.
Oh yeah, I see now 12-minute video. I'll check it out. Afterwards. I want to quickly look at this. What is this about?
If you ask the question, what is unique about this war? What is different about this war than all other wars? It's not the civilian death toll. The ratio of combatants to civilians is, I think it's better than the American armies was.
Thank you for somebody pointing this out. Thank you.
When we got ISIS out of Mosul, that was like 10,000 civilians dead to kill 4,000 ISIS. This is 19,000 civilians dead to kill 13,000. It's not.
No, it's actually let's correct this from a proper perspective. Let's see. Look, here we have actually real accurate information. Brazil's Lula says 12.3 million children
Mm.
were killed in Gaza during this war.
And guys, they even put the note there. The combined population of Gaza and Israel is 11 million. So guys, seriously, think about how evil Israel is when they've killed more children than they've killed more children in Gaza than the entire combined populations of Gaza and Israel. That is a special kind of evil, and people wonder why students are protesting.
You see, this is actually what makes Israel so special, and this clearly shows that Jews are indeed chosen and also superior people, that they are capable of things that nobody else not just would do, but cannot do. They can kill 12.3 million children
Mhm.
when the combined population of Gaza and Israel is 11 million. So they kill significantly more children than there are people in Gaza and Israel combined, according to the Brazilian president Lula here.
Now, if you want to understand evil, think about how they must have achieved this. They must have forcibly impregnated tons of women, given them massive amounts of fertility drugs so that they all had like quintuplets, made them have tons of babies, and they killed them all. They killed them all until they got to 12.3 million. Gosh, this is bad.
Man, anyway.
It's not that, you know, what's unique about this war, unlike every other war that I could think of, is you have an army in Hamas that has perfected the art of embedding itself and meshing itself with civilians so that you cannot hit them without hitting the people around them. Other armies have done this, but none have perfected it to the extent that Hamas has. No army that I know of in military history has had 15 years to build 300 miles of tunnel underneath a city that they don't use to shelter the civilians, but they use to shelter themselves so that they can operate right under a kindergarten, right under a
You know what's funny?
Wow. Guy's smart.
From the history of recent I don't know, pop culture, over the video games, narratives, stories, movies, series, and all that over the last decades.
Trajectories.
It was that there was always this idea associated with Middle Eastern, Islamic, or just Arab groups, that it is their common specialty and method to use terrorist activities and to use activities which show a complete disregard for human lives, for civilian lives, and a readiness to just cause massacres among the other side and their own side. And Hamas is really not beating those stereotypes and those allegations at the moment. This is what Hamas is known for. This is their specialty that they learned and that they present very, very well right now, to make sure to use their entire population, which they call a nation of martyrs, as if it was a fantastic thing, as shield between them and Israel, while provoking Israel and making sure the war goes on forever.
mosque. So this is a challenge no army has faced. And so that's what makes this war different. And yes, I agree with all of the absolute tragedy and suffering of the Palestinian people, but it's what creates that is the way Hamas fights. And either we can say one of two things. We can either say, well, Israel doesn't have a clean shot, and so they have to let Hamas get away with it because it's too much to bear. But then we are essentially creating a situation where terrorists have found the perfect solution, which is that you can cross the border, go house to house.
That would be a message to all. Hey, pause it.
It's a perfect strategy.
Because this is massively important. It's exactly what we've said before, that you got to think about the messages to future generations of terrorists and all the people who are calling for ceasefire. I get it. I get exactly why you want ceasefire. I get it. I understand saying, hey, this is enough. how far do you have to go? I understand all of that. If you're actually thinking about the future and not just what's going on right now, but future generations of terror, there are reasons that certain countries have a don't negotiate with terrorists policy. The moment you negotiate with the terrorists, that encourages future terror. If a terrorist kidnaps someone and you say, okay, we're going to negotiate and going to give you everything you want, that may help get the release of that particular person, but it also sends a message to future generations, hey, you can get whatever you want. Just start kidnapping people. So that's the reasoning behind it. But think about the messages to future generations. Israel, going along with what he just pointed out, Israel can stop right now and say, okay, enough is enough. Everyone's had enough. We've made our point. And the takeaway message for Hamas and to all future generations of terrorists around the world is, if you go and kill a bunch of people, then run and hide behind civilians and wait. And all the protests and so on will eventually, the protesters will get their way, and you're fine. You can get away with it. You will get away with it. If, on the other hand, Israel doesn't stop until Hamas is completely wiped out and eradicated. In other words, if they go to every single city, every single place, house by house, hunting down Hamas until Hamas is completely wiped out, that's going to be messier. It's going to be messier. There are going to be more casualties. There are going to be more IDF casualties. There's going to be more terrorist casualties. There's going to be more civilian casualties, but it sends a completely different message to terrorists of the future. The message that sends is, you are not under any circumstances going to get away with it. And we are willing to do whatever it takes to come hunt you down.
Yes.
So there is no way you escape this with your lives. It sends a very different message. Which of those messages do you want future terrorists to believe? Hey, I can get away with this, or I'm not going to get away with this and I'm going to die if I do this. Which message do you want?
There's also the short-term aspect, of course, the minor aspect, which is aside from that part, there is a major misconception that people have, which is that that civilian areas or residential buildings, hospitals, official buildings, and all of that are off limits no matter what. That is not true. That's false. That's not true. According to international law, that is not true. That's not how it works. If that were true, then Hamas could just do the following: they attack and cause a massacre and kidnap people, and then they go and hide in apartments, or they massacre people and then they go and hide in a hospital, and then Israel can't attack, and they're like, hey, they can't do anything to us. That's not how it works. That's not how it's supposed to work. This is why, under international law, those places are off limits unless one side uses them for military purposes. In that case, it becomes, with certain conditions, allowable for the other side to target those places. But Hamas continues to do that. They hide in residential areas, in hospitals, in apartments, and under apartments, under hospitals, under kindergartens, and so on. And once they are hit, they say, oh, look, they're destroying, look at these monsters, they're destroying hospitals, look at these monsters, they're destroying homes. Because they know very well that most people around the world don't know. They don't think past the second step. They will just say, oh, Israel actually just targeted an apartment. How bad, how evil. That's not how it works.
So again, at the end of the day, this is for all of us, ladies and gentlemen. This is for all of us. You cannot let Hamas come up with a successful method of terrorizing people and getting away with it. Yep. If the rest of the Ummah is watching and says, whoa, they came up with a way to get away with it, every terrorist group around the world is going to adopt the exact same method. They're going to run, kill a bunch of people, and run and hide among civilians, and hide in schools, and hide in hospitals, and hide everywhere else. And that's bad for the world. What's actually best, given the circumstances, is to let Hamas know that it doesn't work, and simultaneously to let all other future generations of jihadis know this is not going to work. You're not going to be successful with this.
Yes. What's worse is they are actually forcing the army to kill their own population, to kill their children. Hamas is actually forcing Israel to kill Palestinian children and Palestinian civilian families. This is what they are doing, and the IDF has no other choice. There simply is no choice. As simple as that. For many of the reasons that this guy just explained and that we just talked about.
Strategy. Can we live in a world where we allow that to be an acceptable strategy? I don't think so. And it's very ugly to watch. It's heartbreaking, and I completely understand why people don't think the way I think when they see the videos. I completely get it. But I don't think we can actually live in a world where that's allowed to be a strategy.
Much respect.
Appreciate your perspective.
Much respect to this guy. That's good. I'm glad that somebody says it. So thanks to whoever recommended this. Oh, that was D.
Speaks to the Bani
D. Boudreaux. Thank you.
Israel. It says there was a time. يا بني إسرائيل اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأني فضلتكم على العالمين. واتقوا يوما لا تجزي نفس عن نفس شيئا ولا يقبل منها عدل.
You see.
ولا يؤخذ منها شفاعة ولا هم ينصرون. For example, يعني you were chosen at one point in time. You were chosen. When you chose Allah, that's when you were chosen. This is not the Quran. This is me making a distinction. People are chosen on the basis of them choosing Allah. فَلَمَّا أَزَاغُوا أَزَاغَ اللَّهُ قُلُوبَهُم. When they swerved, Allah...
I wonder how an average religious Jew feels at this point, listening to this guy arrogate and explain to them why they were at some point chosen, but they are no longer because they don't choose Allah. And I'm sure there are some religious Jews listening right now, or will be listening to this later. But I'm really curious how you feel listening to this nonsense from Mohammed Hijab right here.
Yeah, I think we can say that there is a message to the Jews here. There is a message to the Jews from Mohammed Hijab, and Mohammed Hijab's message to the Jews is, "I'm an idiot and a liar." That's it. That's the takeaway message to the Jews right now from Mohammed Hijab. He's saying that he's an idiot and a liar.
Man. This is just so embarrassing.
Swerve their hearts. You're chosen in as much as you choose Allah. You are chosen. And you can still be chosen. And this is my message to Jews. You can still be chosen. The Quran is extending the olive branch to every Jew in the world. You can be part of this community.
Needle Fake says religious Jew here. It's about what I expect from this idiot. I'm Jew, man. I love it.
I'm Jew, man. I love it.
Feels breathtaking, AP.
Yes, you can be. This is what Allah is telling us in the Quran.
Yes.
There's something more. But then the question is,
there's something more.
If your belief is one which encourages preservation of life at all costs, and our religion is not that like that, and yes, preservation of life is important, but preservation of religion is more important, and there's a concept of martyrdom, then I would consider that to be an advantage, frankly. Because as Robert Greene said, the one who's willing to commit suicide has the initiative. Now, I'm not saying commit suicide. Anyone, this how I got him here.
No.
The suicide mission here, bro.
No, it's just something that we recommended several times to people.
Guys, how many times does this guy,
as well?
how many times does he have to give these little caveats? Oh, they're going to say they got me here right after he's like, hey, you should want to commit suicide. You have an advantage if you commit suicide. I'm not saying commit suicide. I'm just saying you have a really big advantage if you're a suicide martyr. And we've got our gangsters. You got a big advantage if you like that. Just keep that in mind. But no, that's not what I'm saying.
And by the way, here's this very good quote, which I very much agree with. I'm not saying I agree with it.
I'm just saying figuratively, the one who's willing to take it further.
So look, I mean,
And then
The one
here,
who's willing to take it further. And then he stops. Did that just
wonder-
stop abruptly?
yeah, it just abruptly stops, and then it goes into them asking for
Oh,
money
man. Wait,
to donate.
Wait,
and
right when
probably will
he's right when
distribute
he's
in
talking
Norway.
about the advantages of being a suicide bomber, then he cuts it off. Whatever he was saying right there.
Yeah, he's talking about the advantages, the benefits of committing suicide. Yeah.
He
Initially,
seems
I'm not saying
he
commit
seems to be
suicide.
awfully
He said
obsessed with
that could be-
suicide.
Well, the unspoken benefits. There should be a thing like an article, 10 great benefits of committing suicide, written by
Oh.
Mohammed Hijab.
Look at him. Look at that dude, man. This is the hero of Islam. Like who's bigger than him as far as with young Muslims nowadays?
Nobody.
This is the man. This is awesome.
Yes.
And you guys, it's funny. You got all these guys thumping their chests. Oh, we got Mohammed Hijab. I'm sitting there looking at this going, if this is the position your religion has been put in, I believe the Almighty has delivered you into our hands by this. I believe the Almighty is destroying your religion using this guy. And what greater slap in the face could a Dawa guy have than the Almighty saying, I'm going to use you to destroy your religion? What humiliation, what greater humiliation could there possibly be?
I have the perfect song for this.
To the brain, suicide.
That is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. I would rather listen to Rebecca Black's Friday song 1,000 times than just that 10-second clip you play. Yo, I'm the top G here with the bald head. Let's talk about suicide. Yeah. Gonna go traffic some girls because I'm right here. Got my brother Tristan. We're gonna have a 3-way. Oh, smack a girl in the face, grab her by the throat, and choke her roast day.
Why are these same people all obsessed with suicide? I don't understand. Like he made one song to prove that he can rap, which by the way turned out horrible. People
That is
make
the
fun
worst
of it,
thing that my eardrums have
And-
ever heard.
and it's called Suicide. It's like, hey, let me make a song. Hey, it's called Suicide. Suicide.
Do or die.
Okay.
I'll show you all how to commit career suicide. Oh boy.
frankly. Because as Robert Greene said, the one who's willing to commit suicide has the initiative. Now, I'm not saying commit suicide. Anyone, just how I got him here.
Can someone please cut this video off real quick? Cut it off. I'm about to say something.
The one who's willing to take it further.
So,
Oh,
Hey,
not
cut it
really.
off right there.
I really wonder what he said after that. Because as far as I gather, the whole speech is recorded. There is no full version of it, but he took that part out and published it as a clip. But yeah, he's basically telling Jews, why don't you wish for death? You should want to die.
We're willing to commit suicide.
You should want to die just like me. I want to die. I want to die. That's why I'm good and you are bad because you want to live. You are stupid.
Let me cut off the video.
speaking about
By the way, earlier when I was looking for through his video, I briefly turned on this because it says Richard Dawkins' final dash at fame.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I was thinking I don't know what he said in there, but Mohammed Hijab and Richard Dawkins, those would be pretty good topics for a live stream. So
Yeah, we
might
should
wanna
go
cover
through
this.
that on your. We should go through that on your channel maybe. But I just
Yeah.
want to quickly see what he says at the beginning here because I find it quite funny.
recently, science journalist and retired zoologist Richard Dawkins has made an attempt to become relevant again in the last moments of his life by speaking.
Yeah, notice it's always some motive like that. Like this guy who does nothing but strive for attention around the world, and he's a narcissist and an attention whore. That's what he does. And Richard Dawkins, keep in mind, I mean, I'm no fan of Richard Dawkins, right? I'm not a fan of Richard Dawkins, but I mean, the guy has been at Oxford for a long, long time. I've said repeat to his credit, I watched one of his lectures once, and it was one of the most. It may have been the greatest lecture I've ever seen from a secular perspective. but may have been one of the best lectures I've ever seen in my life. It was watching that I was like, oh, I understand, because I thought like he's coming out with the God delusion. This sounds idiotic to me. Why is he so famous and so on? I watched one of his lectures and go, oh, I understand why this guy's a celebrated Oxford professor and so on. And then he's just in an interview and people are asking him some questions and he answers the questions and points out pretty tamely, hey, if I had to choose between a Christian country and a Muslim country, I would choose a Christian country every time. That's it. Guess what? Guess what?
Cultural Christian. Yeah.
So would everyone else. So would Mohammed Hijab. Has Mohammed Hijab moved to Saudi Arabia? No. Where does Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah, where do these guys want to live? Christian countries. That's where they want to live. And then they want to turn them into non-Christian countries to make them more like the hellholes that Islam produces. But I mean, it's just amazing. He's trying to be relevant. He's trying to be relevant by answering a question honestly.
It's always about that. Instead of actually addressing what the guy said, he says, personally, as an atheist, I don't like religion, and I don't necessarily believe in what Christians believe, but I appreciate Christianity. And then here comes Mohammed Hijab and says, "Oh, you see, the old man, he's about to die, and he's trying to stay relevant with this."
that goes back to the Quran as well, and that everything wrong you're doing every time you reject Muhammad, it's because you got a small price. You're doing it for something. It can't just be because I'm looking at this Muhammad guy and I do not believe in him. Nope, it must be some ulterior motive. In Islam, there's always an ulterior motive for rejecting Muhammad and Islam. There's some evil motive. And so what do we say? Like us, what are we accused of? If we say, we're looking at Israel and Hamas, we kind of hope Israel takes out Hamas. Oh, the Jews must be paying you. It always has to be some ulterior motive. And right here, it's Dawkins can't just be speaking honestly, saying, I do not like the way things are going, and it does not look good if Islam comes to dominate this country. That does not work out well for us. And he's just trying to get some fame.
Yeah, it's also based on accusation. Like at least in our case, it is true that we are just speaking about this because we are being paid by Israel, by the Jews. But in Richard Dawkins' case, the guy is actually genuinely stating his opinion here. So just respond to him instead of making these dumb accusations and thinking he's like us. Marisa Kennedy said Maggie Oliver, author of Survivors, was a UK police officer who worked on ape gang cases. Please consider reviewing an interview with her and explaining how much this has to do with Islam. I shall make a note of this. I shall do so. Heroes Workshop says, who is Heroes Workshop? I see Heroes Workshop pop up at my chat as a verified account, a verified YouTube channel, meaning that it's a channel that has over 100,000 subscribers. Who is Heroes Workshop? Heroes Workshop, who are you? What are you doing? Identify yourself now. Heroes Workshop makes cosplay templates, tutorials, and build vlogs. That is very interesting. Nice. Heroes Workshops. Yes, what?
I was just going to say Maggie Oliver's book Survivors is about the grooming gangs in the UK. She's a detective. And that was a 2019 book. We might want to check it out and see if you can get her on there.
We could just go for that song. I'm a survivor. I'm a Zabiba.
You're a Zabiba. Gotta bang my head and get my Zabiba.
Sunan Abu Dawood Hadith 2450. Mike Winger is a nerd.
Sunan Abi D. Wood. I like that. Sunan Abi D. Wood.
D. Wood. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Zabouncy Zabuba says, you too seen the Mahdi has appeared on YouTube. He's a clown. I don't personally like clowns, but I will look for it and see what it is. Let's check it out.
Hey, AP, do you actually get all these messages from these guys? I get them. Not terribly frequently, like
I get them all the time.
every month or two, I'll get a message, David, I am the Mahdi, or I am the Messiah, or I'm the second coming of Jesus, and here's my evidence, and it'll be this long thing, and so you should support me, or blah, blah, blah. And I'll go over to the guy's channel. He's got like 23 subscribers and so on. And I can, technically wouldn't rule you out, but dude, you're going to have to come with something better than sending me an email.
You know what's funny? There was a time several years ago where I was actually active on a Turkish atheist channel until I decided no longer to do that. But one day they called me and said that they would like me to have an interview on their channel with a Turkish guy who is known to claim that he is the second coming of Jesus, and also that he is the Mahdi and all that. So I was like, what? So I actually agreed to it, and I did talk to him live. And the funny thing is, despite me being very, very cynical, I stayed quite respectful, quite okay while talking to him. But the very funny thing is, at the end, I had to do it. I asked him about mental health. I said, have you ever considered that you may just be suffering from a mental health problem? Like it may be schizophrenia or something else that causes psychosis. Have you ever had the input of a psychiatrist or something like that? And and the whole team and everyone in the background was like, no. Can you make up for that? Can you say something nice? Can you say something nice to keep up the relationship between us and them? But I did actually say that, and the guy told me, "Oh, people can say whatever they want about my mental health, but I am healthy." But that actually happened.
So this Mahdi has appeared. That's yeah, he's got a channel. He's got 30-some thousand subscribers, so it's authentic. But yeah, he looks like a guy who sits there in his hood, in his black hoodie, and proclaims himself. Let me see. The about says the Qaim Abbas al-Sadiq Abdullah Hashim appeared at the age of 32 after the death of King Abdullah of Hijaz in 2015, raising the black banner that has written on it, "Allegiance is to Allah," and claimed to be Abdullah in the will of Muhammad, fulfilling multiple prophecies from Muhammad and the family of Muhammad. Interesting. Well, I definitely have to believe in this guy.
That sounds legitimate.
That sounds 100% legitimate.
That makes complete sense.
This guy's got over 1,000 videos. Wow.
Wait, how many subscribers?
37,000 subscribers. He's got 1,000 videos. So
that's cool. That's cool. Tanzil Muslihud said, did Ibn Abbas and Ibn Kathir think the Bible was corrupted? As far as
Ibn Kathir, yes, because he's much later. That's well after people know what it says. Ibn Abbas, debatable at best, because you have passages where he clearly thinks Allah's protection is for all the books and not just the Quran. You have a couple of hadiths that are attributed to Ibn Abbas where he contradicts some of those other things. If you interpret them in the way Muslims interpret them, I'm not sure that Muslims are interpreting them correctly. So I'll
correct me
just
if I'm wrong. There is a hadith that
charitable.
says that it's Ibn Abbas, I think, who says that Muhammad said, "Why would you read the Torah when you have the?"
I think it's just Ibn Abbas who says it. I mean, Muhammad could say things like, "Yeah, why would you need to go to those people when you've got the book?" There's nothing about that there. As far as what Ibn Abbas is saying. Yeah, we'd have to look it up. But yeah, there's a hadith that's just Ibn Abbas. He's not citing Muhammad or anything. And he's telling people, hey, why are you going to them when you've got the book?
Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean, I mean, just that statement. It doesn't mean that those books were corrupted.
No,
it just means that Muslims are not supposed to read them because they now have the final revelation, and that is what they're supposed to focus on.
Yeah, and the point is, if you have a passage and you interpret it as Ibn Abbas saying that the previous scriptures have been corrupted, then you'd have a contradiction, because in other passages he clearly held that the earlier scriptures hadn't been corrupted. And notice, most extreme case, if every commentator ever on the Quran says the Bible has been corrupted, but Allah and Muhammad said they haven't, then what do you do? In other words, if a Muslim, because I'm saying this because it comes up repeatedly in my debate with Shabir Ali, I kept bringing up, hey, look at what Allah says, look at what Muhammad says, look at what Allah says, look at what Muhammad says, and he goes, but Ibn Abbas, like, what? If Allah says those books are as good as gold and you have to judge by them, and Ibn Abbas were to come along later and say, no, and you say, well, I'm going with Ibn Abbas, heck with Allah, what are you? According to Muhammad, you worship Ibn Abbas, you worship him. Interesting.
That's beautiful. That's what they do. Since Jake and Kenneth are both running from a debate, why doesn't AP debate Ben Shapiro to get humiliated by a Jew rather than a Christian for a change?
Hey, look at my cow. Look at
the red cow. I'm not sure. I'm going to try to arrange that. I would like to be humiliated by a Jew. Carla says, forgot my message. I sent an email with fan art for you guys to AP. If you could check after stream, would be forever grateful. I will check that out, Carla. Thank you. Appreciate it. Tanzil Muslahid said, I already read this. What's wrong with you, man? Chad Parsons says, I live in San Antonio, and the eclipse is going to get rained out. Tourist traffic is still going to make life slightly worse.
Doesn't that suck? You're in San Antonio, where it's normally better weather down south as far as seeing the sky. It's normally better weather, and you have like a once in a lifetime opportunity where the solar eclipse is coming right through your town, and clouds, can't even see it.
Yeah, I'm personally going to go and see the eclipse with my little child on Monday.
I am as well. That's why I won't be live tomorrow. I'm gonna be driving.
So yeah, that's what they do. Oof-tastic said later early, it's the 7th of April where I am, so I just wanted to say happy birthday and God bless you, David Wood.
Thank you, sir. You are the first person to wish me happy birthday, because the day before my birthday is not my birthday, but if it's April 7th where you are, then yep.
Is tomorrow your birthday?
Yep.
Lonnie Crow said the guy who said Palestinians were kicked out because of other Arab countries is wrong. The Palestinians started the civil war right after UN partially. Yes. What happened is the Arab side attacked the Jews of the region repeatedly in the beginning of the 20th century, specifically in 1929 and in 1936 to 1939, but also in the 40s. And in 47, the Arab side started a civil war, which included heavy attacks on the Jewish community. And the Jews were predominantly, throughout that entire time, in defense against the attacks coming from the Arab side. In 1948, once the Jews declared the independence of the state of Israel, it broke out into a full-fledged war when Arab countries joined to help, and their aim was to destroy Israel and kick out the Jews, and to prevent this from happening and to make it one Arab territory. And the Jews won. So sorry, but whatever happens as a result of that, being removed from your place, whether that is because you fled and then you were not allowed to come back anymore, or you were kicked out, I'm not going to shed a tear about that. Yeah. Garrett DeBleek says, is that scribble on Hijab's shirt a writing or a semen? It's semen. Mary...
Yeah, we need a child bride to scratch it off for him to find out.
Yes. Mary Max said, argument over Canaanite kids forgets post-abuse damage. There were no counselors then. Muslims need to understand child abuse does exist. Booyah. Yes, exactly. Not sure what exactly this is in reference to, but yes, yes. Arya Wasserman said the Jews are no longer the chosen children. The Jews are no longer the chosen children because Alan decided that they do not love children firmly and deeply enough. Just some guy. I'm sorry, P. There is no apostate from a false religion, atheist prophet. Alhamdulillah. That is a beautiful point. I'm going to change my name.
Don't read it.
Sir Dr. Whitemeat said, serious question. Whose
Oh, read it.
milkshake do you think brings all the boys to the yard? Lou said, I miss the good old polite Islamists of 2010, like Anjem Chowdhury and Sheikh Uthman.
He wasn't
Not
in 2010.
Sheikh Uthman wasn't around. And which Sheikh Uthman are you talking about? Not angry, loud ones we have today, like Mojab and Tate.
But it's funny, Andrew. Polite Islamists like Anjem Chowdhury.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing that I remember from him, well, aside from his protests, where they're holding those Sharia for the UK things,
Yeah.
the only thing that I remember is that interview on Fox between him and Pamela Geller, I think, and whatever host that was, Sean Hannity. I don't know who that was, but there was a discussion that they had on live TV where he called her a pig.
I debated him twice back in the day.
Wait, you debated Anjem?
Yeah, twice. One was on, I think one was on whether Sharia is good for the UK or something like this, or for the world or something like that. And the other was on whether Muhammad existed. Isn't that weird?
You debated the OG terrorist?
Yeah, it was two. It was 2-on-2. I think it was him and Sheikh Omar Bakri debating on whether Muhammad existed. And it was me. And I have to start out. I'm sitting there with Robert Spencer, who doesn't believe Muhammad existed. And I have to start out. I have to say, look, guys, I believe that Muhammad existed. I don't believe you can prove Muhammad existed using your methods. I think non-Muslims can have a better case based on ideas like the principle of embarrassment, as in no person would ever invent these kinds of stories about a prophet they're inventing. You just wouldn't make this stuff up. But you guys can't say that because you believe that this is all good stuff. So you guys just have to rely on sources and evidence and so on. And so I don't think that you guys can prove that Muhammad existed. And so I'm willing to have this debate. And then his case was, well, the Quran says it, so it must be true. The Quran says it, and it must be true. Oh boy.
Is this one of those videos? What is this?
What?
Interest that we must be aware of any woman. I fail to see what use a woman can.
This looks like it was recorded on a dishwasher.
Let's have a look at some more. The motto of the French Renaissance when they rose up against his.
When did this happen?
A long time ago.
Wow.
Probably like, I don't know, 2000.
You're living in anarchy.
Yeah, you look like a baby.
Or something.
Look at that. Look at that.
Same background, baby. Same background.
Wow.
Same bookshelf.
You are butchered.
Same books.
How old are they? Like 12 or something?
I don't know.
They put together a list of where women are suffering most in the world, where their rights are protected, and where the
Look at this guy.
are all Western countries.
This is funny. I'd never seen that before. I didn't even know that you debated
Hey, just go to like my last.
the terrorist OG. What?
Oh no, this is just a clip. Oh, okay, that's broken up into different parts. Never mind.
Broken up into different parts.
Broken up into
Broken
multiple
up
parts.
into different parts. You want to go to the end of it? There, I think I saw earlier 4 out of 4 or something.
Yeah, if that's the conclusions. If I
Yeah.
recall correctly, I had a pretty dope conclusion, and his mic was off, so he started flipping out and like held up a sign or something like that.
That's funny. David Wood Anjem. Let me see. 3, 4. What is this? Where's the rest of it?
Of the masses, give it back to the treasury, and let us organize the affairs of the people. Even in the judiciary, we can see the maximum prison sentence in Islam is.
Anyway, we have to look at this.
Let's go and
Look
watch.
at-
See if you see him holding up a sign, because that would mean those are the conclusions.
I can't see it. I don't see him holding up a sign. Anyway, before ruining this live stream further, if you find it, we should have that, because I would like to see more about a debate between you and the greatest terrorist.
And by the way, the same thing that I've been pointing out, that all the new Dawa or Islamist or Sharia guys who come along, they have some gimmick that gets them popular for a while, and then either they get arrested because they support terror behind the scenes, or they just fade out because people catch on to their methods. Look at the guys who were popular back then. They're gone. They're not around anymore. It's a new breed that's popular, and wait 5 or 6 years. It's going to be a different group. It's going to be a different group of pop, because they all do the same thing. They all come along. They get popular for a little while. People figure out their whatever their lies are, whatever their tricks are, and then they fall out of favor and they have to look for new guys. But you can look back, the Christians who were dealing with Islam back then, same Christians who are dealing with Islam now, but you have more. You have new guys as well.
It's a new generation. Moo Joe said, why a group of 1.7 billion people so obsessed and jealous of 12 million people group? If fake Jews say they are the chosen ones, how does it affect Muslims? If Muslims are the real, better, best group on earth. Well, they believe that you need to be killed in the end, and they need to subdue you. So why are you not complying?
This is the issue that really is at the bottom of all of this. You've got, and it's more than 1.7 billion. That's an old statistic. It's more like around 1.9 or 2 billion right now. Insanely jealous of a small group that is winning against them, and they can't take it because that's not supposed to happen. It's a massive refutation of their. It's not supposed to happen. It's not supposed to happen in Islam. The Jews aren't supposed to be more powerful than Muslims. The Jews are supposed to be subjugated and marginalized completely by now, and they're not. And so that's why there's this obsession. Well, if the Quran and Muhammad say that this is what's going to happen, and it's not happening, we have to try really, really hard right now to make it happen. We have to try really, really hard to beat these guys, because this is not supposed to be happening right now. The plus side is, if they try and it doesn't work, hopefully the wheels start turning. Wait a minute, we're supposed to have the final prophet, the best religion, the final revelation. Why does the best prophet and the true religion and the final revelation make us completely weak and ineffective, and we depend on everyone else, and we have to run around begging other countries for handouts and support to help us all the time?
We have the best religion, frankly. I was just looking through this. I think I found it.
What?
Intent. Muhammad told his followers that it's okay to beat their wives into submission. And we know from Sahih Muslim that he beat Aisha. Muhammad told his followers that women are stupid and that their testimony is worth half that of a man. Muhammad tortured people for money. He supported his religion by robbing people. He preached a message of violence and oppression and cruelty. And he taught his followers to believe in a God who loves only them and no one else.
Oh, did you see it? He did hang something. Yeah, what is it?
Medina, to eliminate fun of him. He beheaded hundreds of Jews for trying to defend themselves once they realized he was trying to eliminate them. Muhammad started a war with Mecca when he had a chance to live in peace. In Medina, he enslaved thousands of people.
It says load of rubbish.
Allowed his followers to rape their female captives. And yes, he took the most beautiful captives back to his own.
Man, what a dummy. What a dummy.
D Wood, I was back in my prime.
David Wood humiliating the terrorists since 3000 BC.
He got spanked so hard he went into jail.
Yeah. Mahat shekel temple tax Exodus 30:13 said Nes Ivan. I agree entirely. I agree completely and fully. Yes, indeed. Exodus 30:13 says, each one who crosses over to those already counted is to give a half shekel according to the sanctuary shekel, which weighs 20 gerahs. The half shekel is an offering to the Lord. Huh. Interesting. Miss Peaches says, if suicide is haram, how dying as a jihadi halal? Well, you gotta make the best out of it. You can't just go kill yourself. You have to kill somebody else while killing yourself.
Yeah, so there's the concept of collateral damage in Islam. If you launch a terrorist attack and you end up killing some Muslims in the process, well, that's collateral damage. But also, if your goal, let's suppose you load yourself up with explosives and go kill a bunch of people, your goal is to kill the other people. You're the collateral damage. Your intention is not just to kill yourself. Your intention is to kill the other people. You're just killed in the process. And so
BH says Jews as chosen do the 613 mitzvot and teach a Torah. And no, it's not true. According to Mohammed Hijab, you're just chosen and you can do whatever you want. That's it. You're wrong about this. 5 silver pesos says there's only one Hughes, John Hughes. Is that the?
That's the movie writer and director, The Breakfast Club, and a bunch of those teen movies back then. 16
From the
Candles
early
and Pretty in
80s
Pink and all that stuff. Yeah,
90s, whatever. Yeah,
Ferris
okay.
Bueller's Day Off, all those.
That's funny. That is funny. Star D says the horror that Jews chose life like God told us to in Deuteronomy 30:19.
Yep, that's the passage I read.
Yeah. That was a very bad choice. According to Mohammed Hijab, you should have chosen death.
Yes, they should have said, no, we choose death. Don't tell us to choose life. We choose death. We're chosen. We're chosen, so we choose death.
Oh, God, you don't understand. I understand better than you. We choose death. That's Mohammed Hijab for you. That's the most popular.
That's Dawa, ladies and gentlemen.
Ari Wasserman said Hijab is looking a bit stressed. I think he needs to cash in his augmented Zabuba outside. That is true. That is true.
He is. They seem to be becoming a bit unhinged, aren't they? All the Dawa guys across the board, they're becoming more and more unhinged. But why? Because the further south the IDF goes, the more hopeless it is that they're actually going to, like Hamas is actually going to survive and win this. And they're in panic mode because they really thought when they were cheering for the attacks and so on, lots of people actually thought that they were going to get away with this. Hamas is going to get away with it. And Israel's going to back down, and they might fight for a little while. There might be some retaliation, but they're going to give up because college students and Marxists and people are going to be protesting on college campuses.
Yeah, by the way, for those who were following the whole Jake Shields thing, so Jake Shields is a new Nazi who hates Jews and who has a very big mouth and says the dumbest things on Twitter. I challenged him to a debate a long time ago. He said, "Yeah, sure, if you can have a big platform." And then Tim Cass jumped in within minutes and said, "We can host it."
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Oh no, it's too far, and I want money." So he kind of backed out and has been stalling ever since. Then somebody here, Laramie Gregory, said, please have Jake Shields and Act 17, which is David Wood here on the screen, on as guests together. Jake said, I'm going on with Nick Fajitas next month, so this clown can come along.
Yeah, and keep in mind, so I didn't challenge him. He said he invited me. He invited me, and I responded and said, be happy to go.
Yeah. So
and then he backed down.
He goes with Nick Fuento. And then David said, nice. Jake Shields just invited me to join him and his hero, Nick Fajita, for a discussion next month. I accept. Jake says he only travels if he's being paid. So I wonder how much Nick gave him. But since Jake still hasn't done the debate he agreed to with AP, I'm thinking AP can join us as well. That way Jake and AP can have their debate. And then we can all have a fun discussion about Israel, Jews, and the rise of these new Nazi clowns. Set it up, Jake.
But I mean, think about how reasonable that is, right? So if you're Jake, I get it. So Jake is posting all these tweets, but at the end of the day, he's an MMA fighter, so he will have the right amount of aggression in a debate, but he might not feel comfortable with his knowledge. But he's going to have his hero Nick Fuentes with him, right? This is like the king of all neo-Nazis right now. So he's going to have his. I thought that was entirely reasonable. He invites me. I say, fine. But since you're already traveling, and there's going to be cameras rolling, then I can bring AP. You guys can have the debate that you agreed to do, but you made excuses, and your excuses were you weren't going to travel, but now you're already traveling. So that excuse just went bye-bye. So you could do that debate with AP, and then the four of us, you'll be there with your hero, and it's me and AP, and we can all have a big discussion. What did he do?
And then we can all pee. And then Jake Shields unfortunately responded to this saying, okay, you are another liar like that guy, so you are uninvited. So suddenly, after David brought up this very fair point and said, oh yeah, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. If Nick Fiesta is going to host it and you invite me, let's all get together and let's do this. And he was like, no, I'm not doing this. You're a liar. You're a liar.
Hey, you got my response to that there?
And then, then actually, let me see. Oh yeah. Then you said, Jake, I agree to debate Apostate Prophet if it's on a big platform. Timcast will host. Jake, I changed my mind. AP, coward. Jake, but I'd be happy to face David Wood. Me, okay, let's do it. Jake, I changed my mind again. Did
I
Jake
said-
submit this quickly in MMA? And he said, I'm looking
Can
to
you imagine?
go.
Think about that. If this were an MMA fight, this would be like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, let's do it. No, never mind. I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. What the heck?
I'm looking to go and have a reasonable, polite debate with two Zionists. You two are both clowns and a waste of time. I'll get guys who are actually famous.
He's gonna
rich
get
and
guys.
famous. I've never heard of either of you other than seeing you both constantly post about me without tagging me.
Never heard of me. He follows me on Twitter. He follows me on Twitter. He's one of my followers.
That is very, 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 very funny. So the whole thing with Nick Frito didn't work out, which is kind of weird. Weird how you keep running your mouth about two clowns who are a waste of time. Also weird how you keep saying you're ready to debate us until we accept and you instantly back down. But please tell us, which famous imaginary Zionist are you planning to debate?
Yeah, because I'm going to debate. Like who? Who are you going to debate? Like who would he debate and he would actually accept? Which famous Zionist would say, I agree to debate Jake Shields, and he would actually accept and not back down like a little coward?
Yeah, and I basically tweeted at him because he calls me a liar, right? He says, you are a liar like him. And I said, Jake told me repeatedly that he would debate me, but he doesn't want to do it for free. Now he's calling me a liar. Maybe people should know how Jake actually thinks. And I wanted to post the whole back and forth between him and me that we had per messages, but I just posted this little bit here where he says, it is hard for me to want to travel that far unless it's business. I don't make my money through political shit. I just talk shit for fun. This is how he describes his online activism for Palestine.
But think about this. So, given what he just said, I only travel if it's for business. And he said to you, he's not traveling without getting paid. But he said he is going to do recordings with Nick Fuentes. So he is getting paid, and that's all set up. His travel's covered. And so what was the problem? That was his excuse for not debating you.
Yeah.
And so that's all fixed. And he challenged, I didn't challenge him, he challenged me. So that solved all the issues. He was getting paid. He gets to do his debate with you. He challenged me. We get to have a discussion. His hero, Nick Fuentes, is there. So you've got the neo-Nazis versus the guys who aren't crazy about neo-Nazis, and they back down.
So I'm just wondering, where is the lie?
Liar.
Where in all this is the lie? Where did I or David lie in any of this? And then he said about me that I begged him for a debate. He said,
yeah.
This loser I never heard of begged me to debate him. First off, before I told him to debate me, he kept commenting on my posts, under my posts, which I can prove easily. I said, sure, thinking it would be online or he would come to me. Instead, he asked me to travel 8 hours each way to debate him with zero pay. Excuse me, if you agree to have a debate with somebody, I expect, okay, you know what? If I'm going to have a debate with someone, it might be in person, it might be online, it might be organized by some, big platform that will invite me. I might have to travel. I mean, I took into consideration that I will probably have to travel for this. I also have to travel. It's not just him who has to travel. I also have to travel in order to go on Timcast. It's not just him.
But he's not willing. He's not willing to defend the Palestinians if it requires travel. He doesn't want to be he doesn't want to be inconvenienced in attacking Jews. He wants to do it from. He wants to only attack Jews from the convenience of his computer.
Then he says, I said no thanks, and now he's made countless videos and constantly says I'm scared to debate him. I made so the total amount of videos that I made about him is 0.
Well, no, he said countless.
I mentioned him once during a live stream after his rejection, after he dropped out.
You just mentioned him again, so that's 2. No, wait.
It,
Jake Shields can't count to 2, so he's technically correct.
what is he talking about? Countless videos? What?
Well, what's funny is the entire time he's calling you a liar. You're the liar. You're the liar.
So, okay, technically, if you
He's
want to
been
count that one
begging
live
me.
stream, it will be one video. Okay, one video. Apparently, one video is one is countless to him. That makes sense. And I said, I literally asked you once to debate me, and you agreed immediately under the condition that we have a big platform. That's begging to you? And we can always do it online. And let me see. I don't think he replied to that. Yep. Nope. Nowhere to be seen. What a weasel. What a weasel.
But you can trust whatever he says about Jews.
Yeah,
because he's
definitely.
entirely trustworthy.
Stupid neo-Nazis are really, really disappointing compared to the Nazis, the OG Nazis. The OG Nazis, if they came back and saw the neo-Nazis, they would be like, guys, are you people stupid? Heroes Workshop said, why are Muslims bad about Palestine? What happened to predestination? Allah knows best. Allah willed all of this. Be mad at him. Precisely. Alhamdulillah. NNN says, you should want to die. Is it an ad to recruit terrorists? Useless religion. A religion should regulate or promote societies in a positive way. Otherwise, it is just a cult. It is just a cult. Look up the Ramadan of Peace. Nigerian reacts with Frank Steven in 9 minutes. Hilarious. You'll love it. I will check it out. Loaves of Bread said, somebody's making notes as we speak. Loaves of Bread said, would you do a live stream about anti-natalism? I wouldn't. Unbelievable. Had a debate where the Christian philosopher agreed it was sound based on reducing pain. I mean, did the Christian philosopher agree that from a non-Christian perspective it was sound? A sound can mean anything. Doesn't mean that he has to agree with it. He can just say that it is sound based on the idea of reducing pain. David, what do you think?
I'd have to see what's going on there because I have no idea what debate this is referring to.
Yeah. I also don't have a problem with anyone named Natalie. Jesse said, according to Dr. Bill Warner and the CSPI organization, 17% of the Medinan Quran is anti-Jewish. Mein Kampf, 7% is anti-Jewish. Yeah, I can also say that
Quran is stronger.
It's the hadiths are also, I would say that if you take the hadith into consideration, Islamic texts are more explicitly violent about Jews than Mein Kampf actually is. Because in Mein Kampf, Hitler doesn't ever specifically talk about killing or exterminating them. He does say that that there will be eventually a permanent solution to get rid of the grip of the Jews or some nonsense like that, which seems to imply a removal of Jews. But the Quran is, but Islam is much more explicit. So yeah, Islam is worse. That's it. Bornikin Hawkamahurum Virtus says there is billboard in England calling for sterilization, all with white kids on it. I have to see that. I will see it when I believe it. As Jews chosen as a contract you cannot avoid. You must do the commandments and teach and learn Torah, Tefillin, davening 3 times a day, kosher. Nope, I don't believe you because Mohammed Hijab said you don't have to do anything. He said you are chosen by birth and you don't have to do anything. So why would I believe you instead of believing what Mohammed Hijab said? He's louder. So pretty sure I made a compelling argument here.
Hey.
What?
Hey, it's very short. I just want if any of the Jewish viewers can tell if this kid is actually pull up how to daven. It's short. It's only a few seconds long. I don't know if this kid is Jewish and he's goofing around because looks like he's got a Torah there. He's a little kid. But
where?
It's how to daven and it's got a little kid in it. It should be like one of the top videos. There's
on YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube. Just look how to daven.
How to daven.
It's daven.
How to Davin.
It is
Okay.
cool that my name is in Davin, Dave.
How to Davin. Let's see.
Look at this kid. It's 35 seconds. But I can't tell if he's making fun. I can't tell if this is a non-Jewish kid making fun of Jews or if he's just like saying that I can't
Pretty
tell.
sure,
If this is, huh?
pretty sure this is a Jewish kid. Looking at the looking at the
Look at the kid.
name.
The kid's hilarious, man.
Yeah, he also has a flag of the Star of David in his room on a different video. That's funny. That's funny.
Oh yeah. No, yeah. I'm looking. He's older and he's got the braids
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
so this was just him sort of
Yeah.
joking about the this is what we do. Ah! That's funny.
Panchman said you're a blessing, AP. No, I'm not. I'm so glad you guys are here. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you, Panchmans. I also appreciate you, Panchmans. Thank you so much. Panchmans, you're a blessing, not me. Thank you. Ryan Kim, I searched for Action for Humanity ads with Farfour, but instead found a video game called Nightmare Below Disney that uses Farfour as its final boss. What? I hope this is just a joke, but I will have to look that up.
We still have to make 5 nights at Far Force.
That would be fantastic. BH said yes, just different roles. Yeah, that's basically the understanding of people in Judaism, where there was a video by, what's the guy's name? Gil Schuster, who goes and asks Jews and Palestinians questions. And he asks them about, do you think you're superior to non-Jews, or do you think you're special? And then lots of them explain, actually, or try to explain, no, it's not like that. What it actually is that we just believe that we have a distinct role compared to the non-Jews who have a different role. But people don't seem to understand it. The comment section of people who read this are like, no, they're trying to say they're special. They're trying to say they're better than everyone else. No, it's not what they say. It's hard for people to understand. Hard to understand. Jax said, AP, David Wood, keep destroying the idiocy of Islam with the truths of life. AP, get better soon. Standing with Israel from South Africa. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Shame that your country has taken such a terrible stance on the issue. Yes, but thank you. And I'm glad that you wish for me to get better and not for David, who is also seemingly sick.
Yep.
Yeah. Appreciate it. XWLZX said, isn't having a hedonistic afterlife where all you do is have sex, eat, and drink just another form of nihilism? What's the ultimate purpose of that? I made a video on this a long time ago, that was precisely the point. Because Muslims repeatedly say, oh, your life has no meaning. You just do whatever, you just eat, drink, and then die. What is this? Well, from a Muslim perspective, that is all you do in the afterlife. That means ultimately you're going to have a permanently meaningless life where all you do is just enjoy all the primitive things. It's very, very weird, isn't it? Colton Connor says Jews and Muslims, deze werke devil. What? Loading Crow said, I know many Jews who in fact believe in Ezra. It's one of the best falafels. Half a kilometer from Jabotinsky Street. That's funny.
Ezra.
US abandons the Holy Land. Being Christian is bad. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Mohammed doesn't even cover his head. That's true too. Yeah. EMS said propaganda channel Quran and Islam has video claiming Jews are building the garden of Kargat trees. A dog whistle called to murder Jews. Check it out. That's what Muslims generally do. Mohammed Hijab also did the same thing, by the way. Mohammed Hijab once made a tweet response to Benjamin Netanyahu where he said, why are you planting Kargat trees or something like that? He is one of them. These people actually want to push this stupid, ridiculous dumb idea that Jews are planting gargot trees because they are aware that they will be killed by the Muslims and they will lose in the end. How delusional can you be, man? The Jews don't even know what a gargot tree is.
Yeah. Now, and by the way, think about how dumb this would be, right? So
Yes.
you, as a Muslim, you understand that all trees will snitch on the Jews except for the garkid tree. So if you see a garkid tree, you just wouldn't believe what it says, right?
Yeah.
And then you'd go and look behind it.
Yeah.
And so you think Jews are actually building garkid trees because they think, ooh, this will be a good place to hide. This is the tree that won't snitch on us, according to Muhammad. So when we believe that Muhammad's a true prophet, so we're going to plant these trees because they won't snitch on us, even though since Muhammad told them that the garkid tree wouldn't snitch, they'll know to just check behind the garkid tree.
That's the thing. They think Jews are as stupid as they are. That's the problem.
Yep.
That is the entirety of the problem here. This is the core of the conflict. WLZ says, why do Muslims act like all atheists are de facto nihilists? Nihilism is a position you have to choose to believe in, no such thing as automatic nihilist. Atheists have all kinds of different philosophy. This is one thing that I tried to explain to Mohammed Hijab when he actually made those tweets about me committing suicide, where he told me to commit suicide because I'm an atheist nihilist. I tried to explain to him that this means nothing. It is just an accusation in the history of philosophy, in the history of the use of the word nihilist. It is mostly an accusation made against others to say that they are nihilists. People who are atheists are not by default nihilists. That's not how it works. That's not how it ever worked. But Mohammed Hijab seems to think that's how it works, or he seems to be applying that same concept of just accusing the other side of being a nihilist, which is very, very funny. Do you agree with what I said, David?
Absolutely.
Alhamdulillah.
Although I have to say, when I was an atheist, I was a nihilist.
See, David was indeed crazy. Aaron Michael Abdelmasih Ibn Antakya says, thank you, Dr. Wood, for the good that you do in sharing the holy gospel to the Mohammedans. I found you around 2007 via YouTube with your hilarious ABC special, 72 Raisins, Philippines 1-3. What's that about, David?
That was after 2007. That might have been like around 2010 or something like that. But yeah, ABC had this big special on it's like an hour-long 2020 special on Islam, and everything in there, they're getting like they got Irshad Manji on there to say, and the Quran actually says 72 raisins, not virgins, and one that doesn't even come from the Quran, right? The 72 that comes from the Hadith. But the idea that this would be translated as raisins, I went through all of the Quran verses which promises the maidens or huris in paradise, and I just put the word raisins in there, and it's like, and the raisins with swelling breasts and stuff like that. And then, anyway, it didn't work out very well, but I kept saying raisins. And so, and I think at the end I was just chewing on raisins. I said, why don't they just go to the grocery store? Like, you're going to paradise to get 72 raisins. Oh, I want those raisins. Yeah, 72. Count them up for me, Allah. That was good. Now what?
72 space raisins.
That was the same famous one where by the end they're saying that real Muslims are our first line of defense against terrorism, right? And they pointed the camera at 3 random Muslims in New York. One of them was Sadiq Abdul Malik, who was with Revolution Muslim, right? A bunch of those guys, Sadiq did, but a bunch of those guys got arrested. They were the ones who threatened the South Park creators. They were the ones who threatened the South Park creators, and they got locked up for it. He was with them. I was like, you can't point a camera at 3 random Muslims and not get one who supports terrorism.
That's funny. Yeah,
it was insane that they were that stupid. Anyway, it was a funny series.
Anyway, in the end, we all like raisins with perky breasts. Nick76 said, did you see that Action for Humanity are using Farfour the mouse to advertise the charity on YouTube? What Action for Humanity? What is Action for Humanity using with Farfour? What is going on there? I didn't know. I have to check it out. I would have to look. Have to have a wee look at it and see what's going on right there. David is looking at it right now as we speak, because that's what he likes to do. Ari Wasserman said, but the Jews corrupted the scripture. They were commanded to choose death, but they chose life because they're cowards, unlike us who want to die. That's basically something Mohammed Hijab would actually say, it looks like. Mulsak TV said, but the Bible says that we are all children of God. You see, it's true. Yeah, but the Quran says that you are not children of God. Quran says, don't say that. BH says, for someone who believes in God, why does he wear a Palestine shirt, a place named by idol worshippers? That's a question. The funny thing is that the historical aspect of it is basically, it's really as pathetic as the Palestinians today adopted the name of their Palestinian nation from Europeans, from British people. They adopted their flag from British people. It was the Palestinian flag that they have today was designed based on the flag of the Arab Revolt, which was designed by a British guy. Yes, it was designed by a British guy. The name is British. The land, the borders were drawn by the British. The flag was designed by a British guy. And then they comment on like, oh, we are the indigenous people, and you Jews, you Zionists, you are invaders, you are colonialists. It's quite funny.
Isn't it interesting, by the way, like a couple decades can go by and they think they can completely rewrite history?
Yes.
And then it's like they're proven correct with large parts of the world's population, that the large parts of the world's population will instantly go along with the completely rewritten history. They did the exact same thing with the Quran. So the Quran that Muslims said was the only Quran was 100 years old, is basically 100 years old this year. It came out in 1924. Think about that. The entire history that anyone can look up, anyone could research and find this out. And then they come out with a standardized version in 1924. A couple decades goes by and they say, you see, only one Quran perfectly preserved from the time of Muhammad. And it's like, you guys just, you think you could just say it and sweep all of history under the rug for your agenda. And they get away with it.
They can.
Until now.
They can do it, but just wondering if it works. But apparently it does work.
But
this
objection on the screen is kind of silly. Place named by idol worshippers. I mean, who spreads more idolatry than Muslims? No, I'm absolutely serious. Show me anyone who has spread idolatry more than Islam.
That's a big accusation here. That's a big accusation. Very, very big accusation.
Mm-hmm.
So here is one of the displays. So Mark Sykes, who was what's it called? I don't know whatever it's called. Mark Sykes, who was there to inspire a sense of togetherness, of unity among Arabs against the Ottoman Empire. He is the one who designed the flag as you have it, the flag of the Arab Revolt, which was a very revolting flag. And that flag was the Palestinian flag today inspired. In fact, much of the flags in the Arab world are based on this. There was a thing of that, a graph of that. Let me see. Flags based on the Arab Revolt. Let's see, which countries are there. There was an image here. There is an image here, right here somewhere. Let me bring this up. Right here. All right, let's see. Oh, there's a Reddit here. Okay, that's funny. But at least it provides some information. Here you have it. This is the original that is designed by Mark Sykes, by the British diplomat. And then based on this design, multiple Arab countries take the idea and create their own flags, including Jordan, whose flag looks almost the same as the Palestine flag, which came later, except that it doesn't have that star on it. It's all a British idea. It's quite funny. But then they're like, no, we are indigenous, we are Arab, we are not even Arab actually. We are very, very indigenous, and we did all this by ourselves.
I mean, come on, Islam copies everything from someone else. So why would you criticize them for that?
Well, yeah, that's true. That's actually the power and the beauty of Islam. What is wrong with immigration policy? Most countries have a criterion for good personality. Muzi Orons like Hijab meet the criterion while they are actively promoting terrorism. Deport them. I would say if somebody says that they are looking forward to an Islamic state, they should be deported without question. That's what I would say. But yeah, the Western people have become weaklings. They're weaklings. They're finished already.
You're finished already. Look at me. Look at me. You know you're done.
But you see, NNN made a super chat and said criterion. You know what else is called criterion? The Quran.
You see,
this is a miracle.
it's the criterion, not a criterion.
EMS said propaganda channel. I saw this already. White Lily says dummy Shields running away from a debate after David Wood accepts his invite was an amazing thing to witness. It was indeed. There were even some of his own herd of the neo-Nazis saying, Jake, this is kind of pathetic.
Because it is. Yes, I don't think everyone has some obligation to debate. So if you challenge someone to debate and they say, no, I don't want to debate, I'm not a debater or something like that. If he had been like, what are you talking about, guys? I'm an MMA fighter when you mentioned debating to him. If he was like, I'm an MMA fighter, I'm not a debater, I'd be like, he's totally correct. But he didn't. He said, yes, I'll debate if you get a big platform. Big platform was there in a couple minutes, and no, okay, I don't want to do it. And then with me, he actually calls me out. He calls me out. Hey, you come face me. Okay. No, I don't want to. Like, you're the one who keeps agreeing to things and then backing down. You didn't have to agree to them at all at any point.
Yeah, if somebody tells you, if you are in his position and somebody comes and says, hey, how about you debate me since you talk about these things publicly? Somebody like Jake Shields can say, no, I'm not a debater. I don't know much. I got beat in the head a lot. I am kind of slow. And I don't think I can debate these things.
Yeah, so I just want to sit here all day, all night, throwing tantrums about Jews on Twitter. Yeah. If you don't like it, you can respond to my tweets. That's it. That's all he had to say. But he can't. He keeps acting like he's ready and then doesn't.
He can say, I personally do not endorse and use this word for myself, but others would go on to claim that I am retarded, which is why it is not suitable for me to engage in a debate. I mean, if you say that, it's okay, it's acceptable. But why do you challenge people to debates and accept debates and then back out? It's a shame. I'm trying to hide. Okay, all right. Let's see. Oh, this is good. This is good. Look at this.
Mess with your settings.
This looks like Japanese. B.Apologetics said, Hakikatu said, Israel stops the formation of the caliphate in a YouTube video on Muslim skeptic. What? Hakikatu said Israel stops the formation of the caliphate in a YouTube video on Muslim skeptic. That would be a fun video to watch. I mean, is that a praise of Israel? Or
it might be a clip we want to save because that'd actually be funny. You see, we want the caliphate and Allah wants us to have our caliphate, but the Jews are too strong. They're stronger than Allah.
Go Jews, go.
Go Jews.
What?
Go Jews. Go Jews.
Jindu, why are you making a comment every 7 seconds, since slow mode is for 7 seconds, saying Apostate Prophet bit British what? Muslims?
What?
British non-Muslims. British English people. British English men.
He's still posting every 2 seconds.
Sykes. Why are you posting this? What's happening here?
Yeah. You want me to block him?
No.
I like blocking people.
Mark Schwarzberg made a super chat. Thank you so much, Mark Schwarzberg. Alejandro Sudiro said, have you guys done a commentary on Hijab's interview with Jordan Peterson in a mosque? He was obliterated that he didn't post the full video. I wanted to do that back then. It's been quite a while, isn't it? Hasn't it? That was the video where he basically, after the conversation, said to Jordan Peterson, so, and what do you think? And Jordan Peterson's like, oh, what do you mean? And the guy who is Jordan Peterson's friend said he's asking you if you're ready to convert to Islam.
I've
that
never
was a funny conversation.
I didn't watch that. I don't remember. All I remember is like a clip. I don't think I watched it. I can't recall anything. The only thing I recall is a clip where with the yes, you could see the rapid early spread of Islam. We conquered so many people that it must have been divine. It must have been divine. And Jordan Peterson goes, so why didn't it work when you got to Europe? And Hijab just goes, well, it didn't work there. It's like, wait, what?
It got stopped. It didn't work.
The follow up should have been, so was their religion, they're stronger than yours, or
yeah. Why was that not part of Allah's plan? Of Allah's plan? I don't know. I don't buy your Allah. Danny says calling someone a slur, apostate prophet, disappointing, something that I would expect from the little Christ. So this is a very interesting comment that you are disappointed in me because I allegedly used a slur against somebody, which I didn't. I said I spoke from his perspective and said that other people might call him so, but he personally would not use that word. So I didn't. Okay, to be honest, yeah, okay, definitely, yeah, I did use it. To be very honest, but then why would you make this comment and then basically go on and call other people, refer to other people in a derogatory manner? Isn't this a little bit ironic?
Mm-hmm.
Danny Gorner.
Shameful, Danny. Oh, Danny boy, AP is exposing you.
Danny, why are you disappointed that I'm calling people a slur, but then you are referring to another group in a derogatory manner? Danny, what is this? Okay, let's say, you know what? You're right. You're correct. I shouldn't be using a slur. It's not good. Okay? And I actually feel bad about it. And you're right on that. But then why are you doing this? Yes, we will see each other in court. Big Rig said because Mo was into suicide, kept having to be talked down. That's true. He was wanting to jump, but he was, but they were like, no, don't. The Red Cow said, now that Ali and Dawkins are Christians, AP is the last bastion of new atheism. What went wrong? You mean Ayan Hirsi Ali? Yeah, it's kind of funny to refer to her as Ali, because when you say Ali, I think of Ali G.
Or Caliph Ali or Ali Dawa.
Yeah. The Red Cow said, now that Ali Dawkins, I already read this, what's wrong with you? Ralph said, good evening. No, Ralph 26 said, good evening, fellows and all. Thank you for this question. How do we bring up these issues with Islam with Muslims? Thank you. God bless you all. My personal opinion is, if you're talking about Muslims online, you are already having the conversation. If you are having it, you can bring it up. My personal opinion has always been quite consistent. I don't go to Muslims and talk to them about this. I don't see Muslims and say to them, your religion is bad, your religion is wrong. I personally don't do it. I just speak in my own sphere. And if they're trying to spread it or trying to propagate it, then I go and interfere. However, somebody who is not in my shoes with a different perspective and a different agenda, like David Wood, might have a different approach to it. So, David, what do you say?
It's usually pretty easy. Lots of Muslims would love to talk about these things. So just open the door and ask them a question. It's pretty easy. Hey, what do you think about what do you think about such and such? There it goes.
Yeah. Or kick the door in. WLZ said, do you think some of these Dawa boys are secretly atheists? Yes. Didn't Yasser Qadi in an email several years ago express that he had serious doubts? He did express that he had serious doubts about certain things during his
when he
studies
went
in
to
uni.
college.
Yeah.
College, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what that was.
And that was because his dad, as we pointed out, was one of the guys who propagated the myth of the Quran's perfect, miraculous preservation. And Yasser Qadi went to school and found out that, a lot of stuff I've heard is complete nonsense. And then he works on issues for years, and in public, he's still saying perfect preservation, but behind the scenes, he's saying, of course, there are all these differences, and I don't think we can actually make sense of these using the methods that we use, because we listen to any response. Anyone who says, oh, because it's the 7 ahruf, and we go, oh, okay, that solves the problem. And he says, no, it doesn't solve the problem. And then, of course, the behind the scenes stuff gets brought out into the public with the Mohammed Hijab interview, and together they destroyed the myth of perfect preservation.
Alhamdulillah. The next Dr. Zakir Naik said, be more sensitive, AP. I know I forgot to put on my sensitivity today when I went live.
Shameful.
That is disgusting, and I regret it. And I want to now follow the advice given by Mohammed Hijab, since this gives me more suffering, more pain than pleasure. Yeah. But Rizza said, Apostate Prophet, what's your least favorite part about Islam? So there is one issue that I have with Islam after everything is said and done, after everything that we talked about and went through, to be honest. So as you know, there is a description of the women in the afterlife when you go to heaven, when you go to paradise. Allah creates or designs specific virgins, divine virgins for the believers that they can plow for all eternity, who are just for them. I don't like their description. It says that their skin is so fair or so white that it's so transparent that you can see their marrow through their skin, and I think that is kind of disgusting. Why is it like that? And why can't it be more inclusive toward people who like to have different kinds of women in the afterlife as reward for the believers? This is personally my one issue that I have with Islam. David, what do you think?
He didn't ask me, he asked you.
Okay.
With me, it'd be the probably, if you're just talking about practical consequences, it would be terrorism and banging little kids, and probably be neck and neck. If you're talking about bigger scenario, it's an obstacle to keeping people from actually knowing the true God by giving them a false prophet.
Yeah, these are minor issues compared to mine, though. So, Meredith Grotti said, think that L. Ron Hubbard should be in the running for most obviously a false prophet. A former sci-fi writer seems like he would have an advantage. I've never really looked into the history of how that guy created the cult. But it seems kind of odd, doesn't it? Do you know anything about this, David? Do you know anything about the story of...
I mean, it's pretty wild stuff. It's pretty wild stuff with the aliens and and then the spirits of those aliens and so on. And anyway, it's weird stuff.
How does it go from, I mean, did he ever claim to have communicated to these higher beings? We're talking about Scientology. These higher beings that are extraterrestrials, that have a, I don't know.
You'd have to get someone on here who studies Scientology.
That's so weird.
Hey, you know, it's funny because these guys believe they have like powers. If they surround people, they can like will people into doing stuff. And I think it was before Mission Impossible 3, when they went up to the producer or the director, and it was like a group of like a dozen or so Scientologists because Tom Cruise is a Scientologist. It was like a dozen of them, and they kind of surrounded the guy. They kind of surrounded the producer or whatever, and said, they start going, you're going to give him a bigger percentage. You're going to give him a bigger percentage. He goes, or what? You guys going to weird me to death? And he walked away. That was funny. You guys going You guys gonna weird me to death?
That's funny. That is good. They have a nice temple, though, don't they? With all the money they take from the rich people. Russell Westbrook Gaming, David Wood, Allah praise on the Prophet, Mimi Hijab. Praise on the Prophet, Mimi Hijab. Actually, Allah praise for, not to the Prophet. That's a meme that needs to come back. That needs to come back. Heroes Workshop says Ezra shows up, Jews, pass. Red cow shows up, Jews, I choose.
I choose.
I choose the red cow. Ari Wasserman, happy birthday. I started following Dizzle when he was only 41.
Way
Ooh.
back in the day.
Whoa. How old are you? 65?
I'll be
Or what,
48, 48 big ones tomorrow.
Oh, okay, you're younger than I thought. Sal Willis said, happy birthday, David. Hope you both enjoy the eclipse. It's cloudy where you are. Just drive to Philadelphia. I heard it's always sunny there.
That's funny.
That's a joke that I would have made.
Yeah.
So,
But it doesn't work. The eclipse isn't going through Philadelphia, so your advice is your beloved.
that's true. That's true. That's true. Grand Lord Kaching said, wait, I just Googled it. Mike Winger was born on Christmas Eve. He's the chosen one.
Chosen.
Not joking. You can look this up, LOL. If this is true, then I don't know. Then I don't know anymore. Spoken Word Poetry said, David would recommend any books to help me be more equipped to make a case for Christianity in response to Islam. I want to grow in confidence and competency.
Yeah. You should start with Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus by Nabil. Then read Answering Islam by Norm Geisler and Abdul Salib. After, I mean, there are more books. There are more books that are relevant. As far as jihad, The History of Jihad by Robert Spencer. And after that, I would go to the website, answeringislam.net. You can find answers to any of the specifics. We're at the end of the live stream now. AP decides to mess with his camera. Wow. So yeah, and I mean, really, I mean, those are good books that I recommended. So read those. But Answering Islam has responses to really everything, and so yeah, get a general idea of things, and then after you got a general idea of things, pick some things that you're really interested in and become an expert on something.
General always reminds me of my favorite Chinese dish, which is General Tso's. Yeah. So yeah, I would recommend General Tso's chicken instead of just recommending a book. Yeah. So the picture quality of this lens is worse, but at least it doesn't go
you're in
blurry
focus
for now. If this goes blurry on its own too, then it does mean indeed that my camera is kind of messed up. So we'll have to check that out.
I can make myself darker to compensate.
Look, the
See?
focus is nice. You see?
Now we're the same.
You see? How about that? Okay. Yes. Viati Vishtu said Syria, Lebanon be like, no, Israel, give me back my French colonial borders back now. And then said, hey, Hijab is not stupid. His primary motivation is money and fame, not religion. I think he has a very big ego problem. Fame.
He's
more about fame than money.
Hijab is a total narcissist. If he were to go and sit down and take some tests and answer questions honestly, he would be diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder.
That's what I think as well. Perfect case study for narcissistic personality disorder, in my opinion. Keegan Smith said, AP, do you know Arabic? No, I don't. I don't know what Arabic is.
I thought you were about to say La ilaha illallah.
No, I don't speak Arabic. No, I can read Arabic. but it's not the same as speaking Arabic.
Hey, what if we had the ex-Muslim Shahada la 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 Allah? How would that work? Huh?
That'd be good. That'd be good. That'd be good. Yes. Taro and Touch said, "Those who know me as unborn and beginningless, and as the supreme lord of the universe, they are among mortals, are free from illusion and released from all evils." BG 10v3, similar to Revelation 22:13. Why? And why? That is the Veda something. Bhagavad Gita 10:1, chapter 10. Okay, I'll see. I see. Interesting stuff. I read that a long time ago. By a long time ago, I mean just a few years ago. Deedle Fake said, "Good comeback, for everyone has had problems with the Jews for 2,000 years, so clearly it's their fault." David, go ahead if you want to say something in response to this.
Everyone has had problems with the Jews for 2,000 years, so clearly it's their fault. It just doesn't work like that. I mean, we went over. We had nothing but good times with Jews. So who has a problem with Jews? You'd have to look, and I would say look at the groups and the different times when people have problems with Jews. I mean, think about this, because you're including like Hitler there. I mean, look, Hitler had a problem with Jews, so clearly it's the Jews' fault. Yeah, I would say when you have a group that doesn't integrate with society, especially a group like Jews, where they veered away from certain trades and practices, and they weren't allowed to participate in certain trades and practices, and so the things that they were allowed to engage in, they became the best at it because it was what they were allowed to do. And they became extremely successful, and many of them wealthy at doing this. And you've got this group over here that isn't integrating, that has their sort of, that has different beliefs from the rest of the population, and that is becoming wealthy at it. Who are you going to blame when you want an enemy? Who are you going to blame?
Yeah. Let me just ask a simple question, which is, can you name any group that is as significant as Jews and that lives as a minority, as a religious minority among in Europe, among the Christian world? Can you name any religious group that lives as a significant minority among Muslims in the Muslim world? You usually can't. It doesn't really exist. You have the Jews who refused to let go, who refused to assimilate, who held on to their identity, their own beliefs, who did not mix, who did not become part of you, because this is what societies generally wanted throughout history. They didn't want a people among them who are different and who hold on to their own values and own beliefs and own identity and own standards and own culture. They wanted them to simply integrate. They wanted them to assimilate. Assimilation was a big factor. Assimilating means, okay, you are good if you let go and you become part of us and learn our shared values. Jews didn't really abide by that. They didn't abide by that. They stuck to their own way. I know some people say Christians when you talk about minorities in Muslim culture, but that doesn't really count, because Christians as a culture are not a minority that is unique and detached from any force outside. They are an extension of other Christians who are the majority somewhere else in the world. And yeah, Christians are not treated very, very well in the Muslim world. However, Christians also have a large connection to Christians outside the Muslim world. That's different. Jews are their own entity, their own group, and they are very much the only group that strongly exists without assimilating, without disappearing, which is why they get all the hate. This is actually this could be seen as something admirable. This could be seen as something almost I don't know, divinely ordained. This is the thing. When we were in Israel and when we left Israel, I said to David on the plane, all of this feels a little bit weird. As an atheist, I almost feel like there is something going on. There's something otherworldly, something divine going on, because the way that these people are, the way we experienced Israel and the way I experienced Jews, it does not make sense to me that people would malign them and hate them for the way they are. It must be something else. So maybe there is, after all, a force out there which makes people hate them, and that is not very much based on logic. But you could also say that it is simply an assimilation thing. But yeah, so you can't point at something that Jews are actually doing throughout history that makes people hate them. There is no such thing. All you come up with in the end is blood libel that existed throughout history, where people made up things in order to vilify Jews. And as mentioned earlier, people didn't just do that with Jews; they did it with other groups, including with groups, for example, in Christian Europe, with certain groups that fell out of favor, like the Crusaders, like the Knights Templar, and so on. Just because people hate them, that doesn't mean that they are the bad ones. On the contrary, it could mean that they are actually the good ones. It could mean that they are good, which is why people envy them and hate them.
And as far as it's kind of a situation where anytime a group is a minority that doesn't go along with the majority, as you know, you talked about Christians there for a second, and Christians are in a different situation, but Christians have been like that in specific countries. But guess what? Where Christians are the minority in certain countries, people have a problem with them, right?
Yeah.
Christians have a problem. Oh, well, why do Christians have a problem in Egypt? And then Christians have and you could go back in time. Hey, wait a minute. In the first century, Jews had a problem with Christians when Christians are the minority. And the Romans had a problem with Christians when Christians were the minority. And then countries today have a problem with Christians when Christians are the minority. But the issue is, like, Christians and Muslims have places where they're not the minority, and that sort of adjusts our attention. The Jews are always the minority up until they got Israel back from the 2nd century down to the present. They're always a small minority of some other country that they're in. And so I don't know. It is just an ongoing pattern. But yeah, if someone wants to say they're always the problem, show us what they're doing that makes them all the problem. That's a legitimate criticism. That here is legitimately why you deserve to be hated. But when we ask those kinds of questions, we get like 90% of things that are made up. And so
there was a guy, a thinker and author in the early 1900s, I believe, who wrote a book where he is addressing the non-Jews, the Gentiles, and he expresses from a perspective that most Jews would not agree with. He expresses how he says, "You dislike us because we are not like you. You seem to engage in all the vain things in the world, whereas we seem to value life for something greater than just, enjoying the moment or whatever it is. And our way always seems to conflict with your ways. And the result of it is that you end up hating us and thinking that we need to be removed." What's funny is neo-Nazis nowadays will even cite that book out of context and will say that that book admits that Jews are the problem because they are different and they don't want to assimilate, they don't want to adapt. But no, so the problem is that Jews as a people simply don't assimilate, and that is their strength. That is something to be proud of. Jack says, "Get better soon, David Wood. Christian still sounds fine when sick." Hey, that's true.
Good point.
I don't know who Christian is, but yes, that's true. Zionist American Hindu said, "Pakistani rationalist Abdul Kamal angry on Harris Sultan because he streamed with you, David. They were friends once. He also mocks and criticizes you, AP." I don't care. I don't even know who that is.
Haters gonna hate.
Baiters gonna bait. David,
Haters gonna hate, lovers gonna love. I don't even want none of the above.
David, we've been looking around like you have to go or something. Do you have to go?
I still need to pack because I'm leaving in the morning.
Beast. Okay, I have like 10 super chats left. BH said Palestina was named by the Greeks mocking Jesus. Idol worshippers knew before the mandate.
No, that was the Romans. That was more with the Jews, right? To
yes.
basically taking away the national identity of the Jews. And that was after the I mean, there were instances of it being called that it usually applied to the region of the Philistines. And then the Romans then just named the area Palestine that's when they're completely stripping Jews off the land and so on to stop any future rebellions.
Plus, the Romans were calling the region, though, so in the Roman Empire, the region was called the province of Judea. But then after the Bar Kokhba revolt, they changed it into the province of Syria, Palestina. But that is also based on the Greek the Greek usage, where Herodotus, among other Greeks, called a region, which is what is Gaza and the coast, a small coast. They called that region Philistia before, based on these people who were seafaring people who apparently landed there. That's it. But the entire region was not known as Palestina or Philistia. It's just that when the Romans changed the place's name into Syria, Palestina, they did something that we still feel today. They made a move whose consequences we are still feeling today. That is bad. KD says, what do you think the solution is to the cancer spreading of misinformation, propaganda, and rewriting of history? Hints of German citizens after World War II. I would say there is nothing you can really do about it.
I would say you got to be relentless. See, this is the rough part, right? You would have think that in the internet age where people have the ability to look things up really, really rapidly, and you can't just get away with saying something that can't instantly be fact checked by other people. You'd think that this is going to get better, but it just seems to make it very, very easy to spread complete nonsense and spread it very rapidly. So people you just have to be relentless, and it's going to be a mess.
Alhamdulillah. And then said everyone has a problem with the Muzi, so clearly it is their fault. They're not even a minority, LOL. Yeah, the logic also doesn't hold up because Muslims themselves say, the Quran itself says, if you listen to most people, they will go astray because most people, they don't want you to follow the truth and so on. It's basically responding to how the polytheists are allegedly persecuting the Muslims back in the day. Then coming out and saying the Jews are being hated, therefore it's their fault. It just makes no sense.
Think about the difference there. When you say, but people always have a problem with Jews, so it must be their fault. It must be their fault. And you say, okay, well, maybe there are some things that make people target Jews. Is it really their fault when people hate them and want to wipe them out and things like that? There, we need to see what they're doing that makes them worthy of that level of hostility. And when we look, we find typically a bunch of things that are made up about them as propaganda. When you say, hey, but lots of people have a problem with Muslims over the centuries, so why would that be? What were they doing? I can point to things that they were doing. You can point to things that they were doing, namely declaring war on everyone around them. And that's why people had a problem with Islam.
Script Call just gifted 2 memberships. Thank you very, very much for expanding the cult. We haven't seen many membership giftings today. The memberships need to grow so that our cult can expand, and I can finally have the means to move this cult to a compound down in South America, where we will then live as a restricted community. Thuggy said it is interesting how Arab flags have the colors of the horsemen of the apocalypse in the book of Revelation. That is a funny thing to bring up, indeed. Nick76 said in the Far 4 video, give displaced Syrians a home on Action for Humanity's YouTube page.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't find it, but there were like a million videos, so I didn't know which one it was. So
Give displaced
I'll
Syrians
look
a
up.
home on Action for Humanity's YouTube page. So you might want to look at it and see what it says right there in it. Person with a Hebrew name says, thank you both for all you do. Love AP. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Since you converted yesterday and there's already a red cow, welcome to the family. Will you come to Israel to build the third temple? I am
Oh
on
my goodness, they've actually got the kids gathered around Far 4.
Really?
Holy crap, this is a new video. It's 5 days. Oh my goodness, man.
What is it called again? Action for Humanity. Action for Humanity, innit? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Well, Far 4 is wearing a dress. We sure this is not Far 4's wife or something? Or is that just a cool garment? They got Far 4. It is that's probably the original Far 4 costume.
What's the video called? Give displaced Syrians a home.
Give displaced Syrians a home. Action for Humanity.
Why does it only have 10 views?
I don't know. Put it on the screen, no music, because the music might be copyrighted.
Yeah.
Turn the volume down. Look at that. That's 4-4.
That is Far 4.
Hi, kiddies. You want to go kill some Jews? 72 Space Virgin 72.
That is weird. That is proper weird. It's proper mental in it. That's funny. Gotta check it out. But what is this Nobody channel though? It has like 300 subscribers. Anyway, that's funny. So yes, I'm on my way to build a third temple. 5 Silver Pesos said L. Ron Hubbard basically started Scientology as a way to generate tax-free revenue. Very genius. Well, that's cool. That's worked out, it seems.
Based.
His books were not. I don't know. Was he successful as a writer? At least was he not? I don't know. Did he suck as a writer? I don't know.
Oh.
Danny Gonor said 1990 slurs used and laughed about by AP in 2024. I've always doubted that he was an atheist or a secular humanist. Just choose Jesus and sadism. Is this a joke?
Mm-hmm.
I will choose the sadism. Okay. Sankei said Hong Chikwan can compete as the fakest prophet too. Claimed to be Isis' brother and had demon-slaying swords to destroy the Qing demons. More death than World War One. That sounds pretty based. Legimathigayon. Hey, what's up, Legimathigayon? Said Mossab Hassan Yusuf. Mossab Hassan Yusuf voice, please. The description of the Huri is having see-through skin and being able to see veins.
The description of the Huri as having see-through skin and being able to see veins sounds like describing a fetus. You can't get more pedo than that.
You can't get more pedo than that. Yeah. It is interesting how what kind of a woman is being promoted in the hadith by Muhammad. Quite interesting. EMS said Almohad Caliphate, 12th century, some of the worst Islamic massacres of Jews in history foreshadowed 1929 Haifa massacre. That's true. The Almohads had their whole idea was what was it? What was it called? They had a significantly more aggressive way of establishing or re-establishing Islamic dominance. They were brutal. The Almohad dynasty. Immortal 17 said AP did his camera because he's crying. He knows Christian birthdays are way fun than atheist birthdays. Hope you guys buy our Allah, peace be upon him. That is true. Atheist birthdays suck.
They're like, here I am, another year closer to death.
Yeah. You know what we give? You know what we gift each other on atheist birthdays?
Schopenhauer books or something. I don't know.
Nothing. I made a similar joke before already. You should have known. Script Colby said, "Shekels for the children." Love you. You men have yourselves a great Sunday and a wonderful week. Catch you guys next weekend.
It's
Thank you.
cash us next weekend.
Cash me as far. How about that? Yes. Ansett Lee says, after a Mojab, here's my jizya, AP and David Wood. You two are my. I only realized after reading it what had just happened.
I only realized after you said it.
You two are my favorite pair of comedians who pack up serious topics in a rather funny way. You just made the biggest joke of the live stream here.
It's what we do.
Call us comedians. Yep. And spread them in a family-friendly way. You say family-friendly. This is the super chat.
Yeah, this you start off with Mojab and jizya.
All ham to Allah. Thank you very much. This is a very good super chat, Ansett Lee. I appreciate it. It's good quality super chat. This is what I like to see. Family-friendly stuff on this channel. Venus Envy said, Farfur is trans now. So stunning, so brave. That is true. That is true. There was already something suspicious about the voice. And finally, Hip Hip Dip. Hey, Hip Hip Dip, thank you. Hip Hip Dip made a super chat of $99.99 and said, is this thing on? Last time I super chatted, it gave me an error. Hopefully, I'm not sending this jizya twice. Yeah, don't send the jizya twice. Hip Hip Dip, thank you. Worked this time. Maybe because you didn't include anything that is problematic in the super chat. This is how it goes through. This is what YouTube likes. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And Mo said Muslims hate Jew for the same reason Cain hated Abel. Abel was blessed by God.
You said blessed.
Blessed by God. Because Cain's
Hey, we need to combine blessed and based and come up with blessed.
Yeah. See, there's a reason for everything. For me misspeaking that. See, good idea. Because Cain's own works were evil and his brothers righteous. This kind of sounds like ableism to me, but yeah, that might be true.
I'm going to tweet it right now. I can't resist.
Blessed.
Going, blessed.
Blessed are the based.
Based equals blessed.
That's funny. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Yeah. Blessed.
Blessed plus based equals blessed.
Blazed. Everyone says blitzed. Yeah, okay. Jews are blazed. Yeah, Jews are blazed, said Alan. See, Alan said it. It's now a revelation. It's an ayah directly from the Quran. Alan says Jews are blazed. Yes, blazed. All right, thanks everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Amal said, what do you like about Christianity the most? Where was that?
Is it
Amal said, what do you like about Christianity the most?
Is it G Wood?
No.
What?
No, it's the food. Yeah.
The food, Christian food. What is Christian food?
I don't know. I would say it is something about the moral aspect of it is something about the emphasis of the whole loving and forgiving. That's the thing that I think about when I think about the positive side of Christianity. Ari Wasserman, I am the Mahdi. Next question, blazed. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a fantastic day. Oh yeah, I have to say a few times that I like Israel and I love Jews. to just fulfill my duty given by Mossad, so I can get paid properly.
Oh yeah. You gotta meet the quota. There's a quota.
Yeah. So I love Israel. I love Israel. I love Jews. Jews are awesome. Israel is good.
Jews play
Yeah.
with cool toys. Dreidels are cool.
Yeah. Okay. I think we hit the quota. Okay, good. All right. Thanks everyone. Thanks everyone for joining. We will be live tomorrow on Dawood's channel.
No, we won't.
What? Oh yeah, you're going.
Said it like
You're
9
leaving.
times. Yeah.
Okay, you're leaving. Okay, we will not be live tomorrow on David Wood's channel, so make sure not to join us on David Wood's channel tomorrow. We will see you.
You should
next
still go
time.
live. You should still go live just to keep the rhythm going. Call
I
up
don't
someone.
want to
Call up some cool ex-Muslim to join you live and have a cool discussion.
I will see. I will see.
Or Rebecca, if you guys want to talk about a video or something like that, you want to go through something.
That's true. That's true.
If it's anything to do with Israel, get Rebecca on there. If not, get one of the ex-Muslims on there with you.
That's true.
Make fun of
That's
something.
That's a good idea.
Mhm.
So, that's a good idea to go live tomorrow without David. So most likely we will not see each other tomorrow. Thank you all so much
You
for
said
joining.
Nazi. You keep saying Nazi.
Thank you everyone for joining. Have a fantastic day. And as always,
Stay away from Islam.